Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than red counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
In Barbados' first international game since becoming the world's newest republic and severing ties with the British Crown at last, it was one of their own who did it against England. Jason Holt is making a bit of a habit of this. Magnificent up the top and ruthless at the death. Supported by Sheldon Cottrell, he detonated the England top order on a bouncy pitch in Bridgetown to leave the team, who have been leading white ball cricket for the last few years, reeling and with no way back into the game. They lead the series 1-0 on a fresh pitch. Can England's new generation, the next cabs off the rank, go again and level the series? Hello and welcome to Guerrilla Cricket's coverage of England's white ball series against the West Indies. The 5 men's T20 internationals, all from Bridgetown, Barbados. It's the second of 5 with West Indies leading the series after their 9-wicket victory yesterday. I'm Knuckle Mpande, taking you through the first few overs and anchoring your coverage, and I'm joined by Brian Barish first up this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are listening to us.
In the afternoon as well. Good afternoon, Knuckle. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, yeah, it's funny. They're in a completely different country. They're playing a different form of the version of the sport, and they still suck at it. We'll see how England goes today.
And giving us the inside track from the West Indies, co-host of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt. Machel, that couldn't really have gone much better yesterday for the West Indies after a very tricky period in white ball cricket from the World Cup onwards.
Yeah, most definitely. I think there's been a lot of bad vibes around the Caribbean and West Indies cricket for what we say in the last 4 months or so. A lot of recriminations, a lot of accusations, a lot of people wanting casualties and heads to go within the team. But yeah, listen, when you beat the champion England side by 9 wickets, that goes some way to shutting people up. But it's one thing to do it as a one-off. It's another to get the consistency out of this relatively inexperienced side.
It's something that Karen Pollard's been talking about in a slight transitional period, or certainly looking for players who can form the nucleus of the next generation after the greats of the first part of the era of T20 cricket have gone or are going. News from the middle is that on a fresh pitch, West Indies have won the toss again and are fielding again. Karen Pollard saying no changes made to the 11 that beat England so handily yesterday. I mean, most of them, certainly the batters, didn't get much of a chance to show what they can do. So they line up with Brandon King and wicketkeeper Shea Hope opening the batting. Nicholas Puran, Darren Bravo, Karen Pollard the captain, Jason Holder, Fabian Allen, Odean Smith, Romario Shepherd, neither of whom got to do very much yesterday. Akil Hussain, who bossed the middle overs, and Sheldon Cottrell, who partnered Jason Holder so well. England make just the one change, and it's a change to the bowlers, a pre-planned change, we assume, with Reece Topley coming back for his first T20 international since the 2016 T20 World Cup, when he was smashed around the park by A.B. de Villiers. Not the first, not the last for that to happen. He replaces Tamal Mills. So England going with Jason Roy, Tom Banton, James Vince, Moeen Ali, Captain Owen Morgan, who played one of the worst T20 innings I've seen for some time yesterday and has been short of runs for a while. Sam Billings keeping, hopefully with a little bit more sleep under his belt after his astonishing odyssey to get to Barbados from Hobart. Chris Jordan, Liam Dawson, Arthur Rashid. Dawson bowled well yesterday, and Jordan and Rashid showed what they can do with bat and ball, and a doomed course. Saqib Mahmood, who bowled quickly, and Reece Topley. Liam Livingston is not available for selection today. He is a little bit unwell still. No huge surprises, Mash, that Karen Pollard would win the toss and elect to field, or that there were going to be no changes. It's impossible, Brian, to see England in T20 cricket playing that badly twice.
The thing about T20 is that every day is a new day, and we talk about even looking baseball. They play with the same sort of frequency. Obviously not as many games, but yeah, I mean, they're going to want to shake it off, and I think they'll be able to. I mean, it's the first game, get the bad performance out of the system. But on the other side, the West Indies are going to be like, wow, we belted them pretty good. We've got them right where they want them. So we'll see what happens. I think Billings, like you said, I think Billings seemed pretty lethargic yesterday. I think that's the only way we can describe it, the way that he was keeping. So, they'll look to do better. The only question is will they be able to?
I suppose this is the challenge, Mashes, for the West Indies to beat a good team who are in theory better than them when that team is playing well.
Yeah, and I think just further to what you said, I mean, I thought Hope, West Indies are taking a similar approach to this that England no doubt are, which is you would think they'd be thinking certain players will get. When you have a 5-match series and the luxury of one with nothing on the line, everyone in your squad should be getting a game. Now, unfortunately, because England provided essentially no opposition yesterday, none of our batting lineup got a look in. So I'd be intrigued to know if they are picking game by game, or if they're looking at it as, well, it's back to back, you just go with the same 11 again, or are there plans to rotate people in now? Because what did West Indies learn with the bat yesterday? Nothing. King and Holt were basically able to go at their relatively sedate tempo because there was absolutely no pressure.
I mean, the West Indies scored it under a run of ball yesterday. That's not really replicable in most T20s. Owen Morgan said at the toss today that the plan was to make some changes after this game, that it had all been planned, but the fact that the games are back-to-back means that wasn't quite so necessary. Karen Pollard in a different position. The GPL is open, by the way, for the first 45 minutes of play. We did have someone who was quick off the mark and entered yesterday, but we didn't actually say anything about it. Our game of skill and predictive ability, where you guess the number of runs that will be scored in today's play. Unsurprisingly, our one entrant yesterday guessed way too low. You go to GorillaCricket.com/competition. You pay £1 per guess. You can have as many guesses as you like within the time allotted, which is 45 minutes from the start of play, so 8:45 p.m. UK time. Oh, what is that? 4:45 p.m. Local time in Barbados, and if you win if you are absolutely bang on, you win the pot with your guess. Bang on, that is. So the pot starts today at £34. Not bad for a £1 stake. Who is with us, Brian, early on social media?
Just Warren, Warren Davis saying good afternoon to us, and over on YouTube, it's Leia with a meta shout out to herself that that Lenolaics gal on Twitter is pretty cool and filthy. Well, we know, Leia, we know you are, but so far everybody just sort of, I was going to say rousing from their beds, but it's nice to actually have a match on Guerrilla Cricket that's in the same time zone I am, albeit 1 hour behind. They're on the Atlantic time. I'm on Eastern time. Yeah,
a couple of continents today with Brian commentating from Philadelphia in the east of the United States. We got anybody with us on Facebook? We're on our website where you can listen. You can tweet us, of course, throughout the day. We are on facebook.com/Guerrilla Cricket, facebook.com/Cricket Tracker India. We're on Hot Mic, and a newish development, we're on Twitch, twitch.tv/Guerrilla Cricket, which hopefully we can make a bit of a thing. I do see we do have some people with us. Contact21 says, here for MASH, I'll be real, #rally round the West Indies. Don't expect West Indies to win, but definitely expecting a good match. I suspect that Contact21 is a Caribbean cricket podcast listener.
Wait, is that on Twitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, big up Contact, big up the Caribbean cricket crew for coming through, you know.
Well, we might talk a little bit over the course of this game about what your plans are for 2022 and what the fallout has been from the World Cup and how you've been covering that over on the podcast. But we are about to get going here with the anthems looming. Rally Around the West Indies, by the famous calypso artist David Rudder, and must be a little bit weird hearing God Save the Queen belted out around Kensington Oval, given that Barbados has just become a republic.
I was thinking that yesterday, actually. But, I'm sure some in the crowd were loving it all the same.
It's a very, very English tourist-heavy crowd. 50% capacity for this series due to COVID. People have to be as vaxxed as possible, fully vaccinated, either double or boosted if that's been available. Despite the fact that the tickets have been slashed for locals by 50%, still a price point that's very English tourist-friendly. And I've seen pools by the side of grounds where a bank might be. I've never seen a fake beach as we had yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any Barbadians listening. I've not noticed that at Kensington before, but then maybe I haven't been paying attention.
There's a new one. Someone, a 6 was hit yesterday, and an English fan tried to dive into the beach and ended up headfirst in a pedalo. Trying to take a crowd catch. The players take the knee, one and all. Not always been the case in touring teams in the West Indies recently. Hello, South Africa. And Jason Roy and Tom Banton look to go significantly better than they did yesterday.
Duckworth Lewis loves you. The clouds part for you. Nothing stands in your way when you're a Roy.
Is a pure T20 player, and he'll go all the way. He's gonna do better than anyone you've seen before. This is the only way that he knows how to play. Oh, he's a little champion, Tom Banton.
And it's going to be Sir Luton Sheldon Cottrell who took 2 wickets yesterday, 2 for 30, dismissed Jason Roy and James Vince. He's going to bowl the first over for the West Indies.
There's no earthly way to know what kind of ball he will be bowling. There's evil in his eyes showing. It's Sheldon Cottrell, come for killing.
Well, with pace and accuracy and hostility yesterday, as he's in. First ball of the game is full and a little bit of swing into Jason Roy, who pushes into the onside, fielded at mid-on by O'Dean Smith, and there is no run. He is a player who I've I've heard a lot about and has been doing the rounds on social media, Masha. We didn't really get to see what he can do yesterday, bowling 1 over, and he's carded down at 8 or 9. But what kind of player is Odean Smith?
I mean, I'm not going to fall into the trap that everybody seems to now be writing about being the new Andre Russell. I think that's lazy. Can he hit it a long way? Yes, he can. Does he have a lot of power? Yes, he does. Can he bowl quickly? Yes. Is he ready? Jury's out.
Cottrell into Banton. This is a poor delivery down the leg side. He didn't bowl many poor deliveries yesterday, and that's worked off the hip by Tom Banton for a boundary. England up and running, 5 for no loss after 2. Nigel Dogood signalling that. The other umpire, standing umpire, is Joel Wilson. TV umpire Gregory Brathwaite. Reserve umpire Patrick Gustard. And the match referee, Sir Richie Richardson. No word as to whether he's match refereeing in a floppy hat. Cottrell in from the Joel Garner end. This is punched by Banton, fielded in slightly sprawling fashion by Darren Bravo at cover, and there is no run. Early signs, 3 balls in, is that the pitch looks a little bit more true and a little bit flatter than the pitch yesterday, where the ball was rocketing through a splice of the bat height.
Yeah, it seems like the batsmen have got a bit of extra time. I mean, it's 3 balls in only, but it does look like they've got that extra bit of time with these balls.
This is almost a leg stump half volley from Cottrell, and Banton slightly misses out there, works it around the corner. Romario Shepherd on the fine leg boundary doing the fielding, and they come through for a single. 6 runs off the first 4 balls of the innings. And this time yesterday, the wicket had already gone down, I think, in the first game when England were bowled out for 103, and it was only a partnership between Jordan and Rashid that got them that high from 49 for 7. Not quite. The first wicket fell off the last ball of the first over. It was Jason Roy, and he faces up to Cottrell. Has to reach for this outside off stump, and the ball bobbles a little bit on its way through to Darren Bravo at cover, and there is no run. He's fielding that with his feet, Darren Bravo, and now he's run over to short leg for some reason to do some fielding. Did he not get a warm up before today? It seems a long way to run for no reason. Field is at one of the fielders is certainly a deep square leg back. I'm sure the other one is maybe deep mid wicket. There's no slip in place. This is a very full and wide delivery from Cottrell. Roy throws the hands at it and misses it through to the keeper. There is no run. England got 6 off the first over yesterday. They got 6 off the first over today. But crucially, they did not lose a wicket in this one. 6 for none, having been put into bat.
Lennox Lee is with us also on Twitter. She was on YouTube. I was on Armchair Cricket Pod on the last day of Virat's captaincy. Pretty surreal looking back. Mog is with us. Hello, Mog. First Twitch, next Discord, ... And Mark Zip joining us from New York State, saying, echoing Brian's pleasure that there's a game on at a reasonable time and on ESPN Plus here in the USA, which means I can watch it if I'm not commentating. And he says that the hot mic manual sync even works.
Jason Holder, the hero of yesterday, seems to love turning up at his home ground, Bridgetown, Barbados, against England. 4 for 7 yesterday, his best T20 career figures, and he'll bowl the second over from the Malcolm Marshall end.
He's Jason Holder.
Slip in place, a wideish slip. Banton comes down the track, and that extra bounce that Holder generates forces him to mistime his shot to mid-on. There is no run. We've seen in the last year or so in T20 cricket that Yorkers have become less and less effective, and that hard length, banging it in back of a length and hitting the splice of the bat has been the way to go in most T20 crickets with the odd slower ball, and Jason Holder's adapted to that really well from being a pitch-up swing bowler as he comes in to Banton, who does love to play those pick-up sweeps and those reverses. He tries to whip this over fine leg. Presumably there is no fine leg back, but he is hit on the pad well outside of the line of off stump, so no LBW. There is no run.
Yeah, just further to that point you were making, Knuckle. So I did put the question to Jason yesterday, sent it to West Indies media to ask him about what does he credit his turnaround in T20 form in the last 2 years, and I'll tell you after this ball.
In he comes. Yes, fine leg is up. This is driven at by Banton. Doesn't time it particularly well, but gets it up and over the infield. Akil Hussain is out there on the cover fence, but it bounced a good 30 yards short of him. Not very well timed by Banton. They'll come through for a single.
Yeah, and what Jason said was, I mean, he didn't give too much away. But what he did say was, he said 2 years ago he basically realised that the T20 game had passed him by. Now you can say that's because he's dedicated his life to West Indies Test cricket, ODIs, whatever. But he said he didn't have the skill set to make an impact in T20 cricket 2 and a bit years ago. And he said he just went away and worked on key deliveries and variations, and hence obviously he's had the 2 good seasons with Sunrisers.
A little bit of movement from Holder. He does move the ball away from the right-hander. Roy coming down the track. England seemingly trying to be less passive than they were in the early stages yesterday when they kept prodding and poking at deliveries, but he doesn't time this at all, and Karen Pollard at short cover feels there is no run. Yes, he came into the Sunrisers team halfway through the 2020 IPL and was excellent, and in the 2021 IPL as well, in a really struggling team, and is likely to go for big money in the IPL auction next month. This one doesn't seem to quite arrive at Jason Roy. He tries to turn it into the onside, and the leading edge dribbles out to cover. There is no run. Good start from Holder. 4 dot balls in his first 5.
Well, he's bowling a more accurate length than Sheldon, as you would expect, in fairness.
Yeah, Sheldon Cottrell a bit quicker, trying to hit the pitch hard and cause a little bit of discomfort. Looks like a slower ball from Holder, just ran his fingers over it. Roy threw the shot too early, and it bounces through to Shea Hope behind the stumps. A really good first over from Holder. England 7 for none after 2 overs having been put into bat.
Oh, hey, I didn't think I'd be saying this, but let's look at what we have on Twitch. Contact 21, their prediction for the match: England 176 for 6. And the West Indies 155 for 8. So we'll see if that rings true. And Dave Maris 76 saying, "What modernized madness is this?" I find it kind of odd. I'm actually signed into Twitch on my other laptop, so I've been using it at least somewhat recently. So if you're on Twitch, as a few people are, come and say hello.
West Indies didn't make a change to the entire power play yesterday, but without. Given that England aren't 10 for 3 at the end of it, Karen Pollard decides to go to a bowler who does bowl a fair bit in the power play, the left-arm spinner, Akil Hussain.
Akil won't appear.
Done very well for the Trinbago Knight Riders in recent Caribbean Premier Leagues. A big sweep attempted from Tom Banton. LBW appeal as it hits him on the pad. No, says Nigel Dogood, probably missing off stump. But Akil Hussain preferred again to the leg spinner Hayden Walsh.
Yeah, that's what are we doing with Hayden Walsh? What are we doing with him? There is this prevailing sense, some believe, that Pollard and Simmons don't trust him, but you need a leg spinner in your side.
It wouldn't be the first wrist spinner, and that's been the case, but you say wrist spinners are extremely successful in T20 cricket. This one skids on from Akil Hussain, doesn't really turn the ball that much. It goes to mid-wicket, there is no run. We've seen this LBW shout again, and it didn't have a great amount going for it. Umpire's call on impact and going over the top of the stumps. Jason Holder, fantastic slip fielder, awaits, but Banton does nail the sweep this time. There's no one at deep square leg. He's hit that beautifully from off stump. Pick up over square leg for the first 6 of the day. Just a little bit too full from Akil Hussain. I think the spinners bowling a little bit back of the length and letting the pitch do the work might be the way to go on this surface, as much as for the seamers. Well caught in the crowd by a man in pinstripe shorts and a blue bucket hat, a local, with the crowd catching. A little shot of Karen Pollard shaking his head.
Double teapot.
Come back to Karen Pollard not trusting Hayden Walsh. I do remember Karen Pollard for Trinbago in the 2020 CPL absolutely monstering Hayden Walsh towards the end of a game against Barbados Tridents. A game that made me incredibly angry, having to completely rewrite the match report as Barbados Tridents fell apart in the last 2 overs. I wonder if there's a little bit of, because Karen Pollard is such a destroyer of spinners, that he doesn't have quite as much trust as some other captains might. This one skids on to Banton, and he does well actually to pushable that he completely misread to mid-on for a single.
I think the problem West Indies have is to get Hayden in the team, the question mark is always, well, who comes out? And this is where I have an issue. You asked me earlier on about Aldine Smith. This is one of the issues I have. I'm not convinced you can have Aldine Smith and Romario Shepherd in the same T20 side. But that's a debate.
It does seem rather like they're doing the same job as each other, and that their all-round ability is a bit wasted. I mean, Romario Shepherd's carded to come in at 9 in this 11. This one skids on and bounces from Hossein. Jason Roy, who hasn't looked comfortable yet, 1 off 7, nearly inside edges it onto his own stumps. There is no run. That quicker ball nearly as quick as Jason Holder's slower ball as he comes in. All last ball. It's been a reasonable over from Akil Hussain. This is poked at half-heartedly by Roy. He gets it down too long off. So one big and very well played sweep shot from Tom Banton means that the over goes for 8, England 15 for none after 3.
Josie Oak saying missed the first 5 minutes, thought we'd be 3 wickets down. Well, they seem to be handling the West Indian attack so far, Josie. So, nope, not happening yet. Warren, referencing the fact that LBW shout may have been a little bit higher above the leg roll, saying balls before pointy sticks. And Snigermeister is with us, saying that they're listening to us now. So, welcome, Snigermeister.
And that's yet to get going. 2 off 8. Tom Banton 13 off 10. And yeah, 4 bowlers in the first 4 overs. Another left arm spinner. This time Fabian Allen from the Marshall end.
I seek him here, I seek him there.
Another one potentially looking for an IPL gig. Has been in IPL squads, but without really playing over the last couple of years. In he comes with his red sunglasses. This one bounces, and that's a good take from Shea Hope. He's not always the tidiest behind the stumps, and there is no run as Roy tries to cut. One of those players who T20 analysts are constantly telling you how good Fabian Allen is, as he's in reverse hack really from Jason Roy, but it was a good hack. He timed it really well, up over short third for 4. But yeah, Fabian Allen's one of those cricketers who gets people very excited.
I think the problem is for Fabian, in between missing plane rides and being injured, he's not actually played as much cricket as he should have done in the last 2 years, which makes me believe that's why he doesn't feature as much in things like IPL, because he's been spoken about more than he's played, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, he's in that there's a scrambled seam delivery that Roy managed to reverse pick up over short third, that last delivery. This one's pretty full and it's driven down too long off. There is no run. Easy single rather. Yeah, the misplane story is that during the 2020 CPL, when Fabian Allen was meant to be a main part of the St Kitts and Nevis Patriots team, he missed one of his connecting flights, which means that he couldn't make it to Trinidad in time to join the bubble. And yeah, he did get injured during the World Cup as well. A reverse sweep from Banton this time and absolutely nailed this through point. Basically played it as a left-hander. It was quite full, not usually a sweepable length, but Banton's very good at that shot, and he powers it away for the second boundary of the over.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Cricketer who's got a lot of promise about him, Tom Banton's had a tricky couple of years with taking some breaks for mental health and losing a bit of form, but he is one of these next generation of England T20 players who could be making an impact. Has played a little bit for England before. He drives this next delivery down too long off, and he timed that reverse sweep beautifully. 10 runs off Allen's first 5 deliveries. This one's into the body and then into the head of Jason Roy as he tries to sweep, and I think it comes off the arm into his grill. He's laughing at the indignity of it all. Good over for England, 25 for none they are after 4.
Nestlers is with us. Hello, Nestlers, saying, for fuck's sake, I'm going to have to install some kind of mission control to read out socials if this carries on, meaning that we've added Twitch to us. Leia, you can thank me for bringing another NRI from Germany home to the gorilla bosom. Get the word out, spread the gorilla gospel. And Josie Oak saying, I keep thinking Fabian Allen is an academic book publisher. It sounds like it.
Yeah, there is one of those. It's anyone who has 2 surnames. Sheldon Cottrell comes back into the attack to replace Akil Hussain. But beautiful timing on those reverse sweeps from Banton and Roy. Come to that after this delivery. Cottrell comes in. Always slightly looks as though he's left his coat hanger in his shirt with those arms pumping either side of his body. This one is defended back to him. There is no run.
That's the handicap.
He's very, very chest on, Sheldon Cottrell. But yeah, Mashal, the reverse sweep might be a profitable shot today.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking early signs here. Ooh, one sec.
Cottrell is in. Banton doesn't really go forward or back and levers this up over the bowler. Karen Pollard chases this back from mid-on. Safe enough shot because mid-on and mid-off were up, but he didn't time it very well. Banton comes through for 2.
Yeah, I think once England get a start on the foundation, I think you have West Indies fans have every right to then start getting nervous. This is what they obviously didn't get yesterday. Still not convinced the two batsmen, Roy and Banton, are completely timing it. But
if anything, this pitch looks a little bit slow, certainly compared to yesterday. A cutter from Cottrell bowls that very nicely, the little sort of off-cutter. Fast off break. Banton misses this full and wide through to the keeper. There is no run. The ball's just not quite coming onto the bat when it's a length delivery. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm surprised by Holder not getting a second over in the power play here. I mean, Fabian is a power play bowler. Keel is a power play bowler. Sheldon's one. So in that sense, I get it. But Holder bowled the best over so far.
Cottrell in short and pulled by Banton, pulled well in front of square, but Holder is down there at deep mid-wicket, so it will just be a single. Yeah, you'd imagine that the best use of Jason Holder is to bowl at least 2 in the power play, sometimes 3 in the power play. I mean, he's improved a bit as a death bowler, but you'd imagine you'd want him done before the 16th, 17th over.
Yeah, but this is one of the problems with the West Indies lineup. There's no clear identified death bowler. I think they want Romario Shepherd to be the guy, but I actually think it's going to be Holder and Shepherd who have to take the responsibility.
Sheldon Cottrell, good power play bowler, and has been used at the death, although he's very expensive when Kings 11 Punjab used him. That's the first one that was on a length, and Jason Roy loves it there. Just a little bit of room given to him, and he's hammered it over mid-on for 4.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
That was a gimme ball.
Yeah, this is the issue with Sheldon. If he doesn't get it right up top, you almost don't want him in the team.
Short ball, that one's rushed, Roy. That could go anywhere. Is that caught and bowled? I'm not actually sure that hit the bat from Sheldon Cottrell. Nigel Duguid, the umpire, doesn't think so either. That might have just come straight off the helmet of Jason Roy. Not that quick off the speed gun, but it did seem to hurry Roy a little bit, the bouncer, and I'm not entirely sure what that hit. It does look as though it's hit him on the head. The England physio is going to come out and do a concussion check, but a good comeback to being spanked back over his head for 4 by Sheldon Cottrell. The over went for 7, England after 5, having been put in by Karen Pollard, 32 for none.
And just saying hello to some folks on Crick Tracker India. Kamran Shah, Dorinda Perso, Shahzad Norze, and Ali Khan are with us on Crick Tracker India on Facebook. I believe we're due a change.
We are. Yes, we are, indeed. Tony Bishop is going to join us for the first time in this series. He's going to take you through the next 5 overs. Mashal's going to continue to summarise, and Al Hotchkiss is going to take over social media as Jason Roy appears to be okay.
The inimitable Owl. How's the bag, Mash? Oh, he's disappeared. He's gone and hidden.
He's just sorting out some domestic things. And
this one
with us.
is. We're looking at
some replays.
Well, England had lost 5 wickets last night by this stage. So
much for an early night.
Well, yeah, 5 wickets down last night they were, and we were all thinking, well, this isn't going to go over. This is going to be all over by 8:30. What's the lowest score? We were all reaching for the record books. Mash, you're back.
Yeah, sorry, I was sweating and I thought it was England's performance making me sweat, but it was actually the heating in the house, so I just turned it off. But I'm back now.
Have you got a bigger bag? Have you fixed the bottom of that dodgy old bag you had? That's what.
Yeah,
we
I've got a new year, new bag.
New year, new bag. Well, Here comes Fabian Allen around the wicket. Reverse swept. Lofted reverse sweep. That was a stylish shot by Banton. It's gone all the way for 4. It's a super shot. Goodness me.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
Yeah, superbly reverse swept by Banton.
So, Alan, Tony, I've got a question for you after this next ball from
We shall
Fabian.
wait for our friend Flanagan and Allen.
Is that a question about Doug?
Down he comes, thumped straight back to him though by Banton, and Fabian Allen holds on. That is some caught and bowled. Some they stick, some they just drop out and could go anywhere. But it was absolutely leathered back and magnificently taken. He didn't have to move, mind you. He wouldn't have had time. But it's a wicket. Banton's gone. It's 36 for 1.
That was either catch it or it kills you, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it would have hit him, let's just say, the place you'd never want to be hit. That's probably why his reactions were so quick. He somehow got his hands to that. Must have stung, but goodness me, he did hold on, and the first wicket's gone down, 36 for 1. Might have been 39 for 6 last night, but nonetheless, West Indies are amongst the wickets. Mash, you were going to ask us something.
I'm going to ask in a sec, but if there's one fielder you don't want any ball going to the West Indies side, it's probably Fabian Allen. I'd actually say Fabian Allen might be top 10 in the world when it comes to fielding.
Would we normally see him sort of like backward point?
Pulling off one-handers calmly.
Absolute screamer in the CPL quite early on in his career that sort of made it onto YouTube and went viral and all kinds of stuff.
The question I was going to put to you before the new batsman takes guard, in fact the new batsman.
Here he is. To Vince, who goes back and was looking to edge him away, really, or just push him away to the onside. Didn't really get any bat on it. A little bit hesitant, perhaps, from the maker of some of the most elegant 30s you're ever going to want to see. James Vince. I know Hampshire fans get really upset when we accuse him of that. He steps back, cuts this, and cuts it backward a point, and cuts it all the way for 4. That's a fantastic start by James Vince.
With the super shatter, super shatter, super shatter, super shatter, super shatter, rocker, super shatter.
Run rate's gone up to 7. I saw an interesting stat about Banton actually. He's I think 4th or 5th since the 2019 of the fastest run rate scorers in the first 10 balls received of an innings, as Vince steps back, steers to point. They decide not to run. And it is the 40 up for England, 40 for 1. 4 to Vince, magnificently cut backward a point. 11 of 14 to Roy. Yeah, Phil Salt was the fellow who's the highest of that list. And Banton was, I think,
he's bowled him.
5th. He's bowled him, he has. Vince has stepped back, and his top of his off stump has been pinned back. You sure about that? He stood still. No, he hasn't. He's
his bails are
he
up.
has. It is. Yeah.
He's bowled him.
He's gone.
He's not
Everyone
walking.
seemed to look. For some reason, he stood there.
I think there's some discussion as to whether the ball hit the wicketkeeper and then hold him. I think they are going to have a look, but certainly looks to the bails aren't on the stumps anymore.
Well, they're going to have another look.
Soft sign is
Wilson.
No soft sign. Just have a look.
Well, Shea Holt immediately ran off celebrating as if he didn't have anything to do with it.
And Vince is going off.
Yeah, Vince probably thinks he's probably trusting the wicketkeeper who said, "I think you better go, James. Thanks for popping in and scoring that lovely 4."
Now, if he walks, does that mean that the umpires won't check it?
Well, we're having a look side on, which will tell us. Oh,
yeah,
it just literally grazes the off stump. Hope does take it. He puts his gloves forward. Those don't go anywhere near the stump. The bails was already on its way off. And James Vince, brief. There is in a potted history of James Vince's career, an absolutely beautiful square cut pass point for 4, and the next ball, he's out. But while he was there, it was beautiful to watch. Extraordinary.
Wasn't that what happened yesterday? Well, didn't yesterday 3 or 4 batsmen get out, ball after a boundary?
Well, he did. Yeah, Roy number 6, hadn't he?
You know, I mean, let's be fair. It was a decent ball.
Oh, it was a terrific delivery.
Wasn't a terrible shot.
As Tone kind of said about Vince, because I was going to say to you both in the next over, I always feel like I never see a good James Vince innings, and I know he's had them, but I feel like I've never actually seen them. But I'm not an England fan, so I don't know if that's me exaggerating.
No, he has had them, but they're known for sort of, looking magnificent and then suddenly not being there anymore. 40 for 2. Shakil Hussain is in, and he's been lofted immediately up over extra cover, but there's a man down at deep extra.
I will get.
Yes, it was. He's a fairly unmistakable figure, just a single.
I will get some tweets in, but our end of over was truncated, wasn't it, because of the reviews?
It was.
And that. Well,
go for it. If you want to jump in.
No. I'll chip in between balls. But what I was going to say is we were worried about Holder not getting 2 overs in the power play. But Allen does get 2 overs in the power play and ends up taking 2 wickets in the last over of the power play. It's funny how plans work, really.
Well, you're absolutely right. Left-handed Moeen Ali will face. He's forward. He flicks it off his legs down onto the 45. They'll jog an easy single, and wickets slow down run rates. That run rate's gone from 7.5 to 6.5.
Move over Amlo, I like it too much. Move over Amlo, you're one hairy dish I love unconditionally. It's Moeen Ali.
This one is swept away, and I don't think it was a chance, but it was King who dived away to his left. And they take another single, 43 for 2.
So the question, Tony and Al, yesterday I put it to Andy Ward. Would you take England winning the 2022 T20 World Cup and more test failure, or the other way round? You can't have both.
I'd want proper test cricket and competitive in that format. Everything else is a very lovely but welcome, but nonetheless a bonus. As this one pushed away for a single by Jason Roy to mid-wicket, or by Ali to mid-wicket. He moves on to 2. Jason Roy will be on to strike. All singles so far in this over, 4 of them in a row. 44 for 2. England the same, in again, pushes this one through a bit, tidily defensively met by Jason Roy. Back to the bowler. There is no run. Al, you haven't had a chance to answer that question.
I'd take test success.
Not starting with the West Indies series, I hope.
Oh God, no! You can have this.
In comes Hussain. Around the wicket he comes, off the edge of the bat, just short of short extra. And this occasion be a dot ball. It's 44 for 2. It's the end of that Hussain over. Number 12 for him. 44 for 2 England.
Okay.
Ow.
So some of this is slightly out of date, but here we go. Woi bomb. Cottrell bowls like a frog in a food mixer. Arms and legs going all over the place. Mark, there is a secret Discord server. Sure. I think this is because of Twitch and the like. Warren, I like Vince, but really, that aged well, Warren. You sage you. Mark, I'd say the place I never want to get hit is the spongy part of his brain. Woi Pom, the collapse is on. We're doomed. Lee is asking for our Discord ID in our DMs for that.
Well, I don't even know what a Discord ID is.
Well, there we go.
It's going to be a change of bowling, by the way. It's going to be right arm over. Oh, and it's a slower cutter, and it's a funny old shot by Moeen Ali, who's looking like he might go full-blooded on an off drive, and then rather pulled out of it. And the ball died as it went through to Shai Hope, and it was a dot ball.
Hey, you have to win. Sorry you can't get through. I'm busy watching Kai run Pollard, so I'll get back to you.
Here comes the bearded Pollard again. Forward comes Moeen Ali, drops the bat on it to point. They have to run there to really hurry, but they might potentially thought about overthrows there. I think they both had to put the afterburners on to make it in. Not sure which end the ball was going to go to, and thus any chance of the second run for an overthrow that's lost, because they were running out of runway either end of the stumps. You got a 15-minute warning on the GPL, by the way. The pot starts at 34 English pounds tonight. I don't know what that is in US or Caribbean dollars these days.
£34 worth.
Probably is, but it's 34 quid's worth. GorillaCricket.com/competition. Have as many guesses as you like. You've got to be quick. So do it now. If you get the right number, then you win the pot. What do we get a number of runs? So you just have to register.
What do we think about a beard without a moustache? How do we feel about this as a fashion statement?
I think Pollard pulls it off quite well.
I think he does. It's quite.
I hadn't even noticed. If you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have noticed.
In comes Jason Roy. In comes Pollard to Jason Roy. A bit of an inside edge. Smartly fielded, diving to his left by Shy Hope. Yeah, the Abe Lincoln look. I think that it looks like there's something missing. I've got to be honest. It's a bit incomplete.
I'm going to shave my moustache off tonight, actually. Now that I've been alerted to this fashion statement,
you're going to give it a go, are you?
by means of humble tribute.
To the great Kieran, who is in and squares up Jason Roy, who squirtily edges that one away down towards point. And will get a single, but it wasn't a particularly convincing shot, was it?
No, it wasn't. And Knuckle, I know, is in the stats fan. I don't know if he's got time to, but we always talk about Kieran Pollard, the batsman, but he's actually a very underrated bowler. Just because we don't see bowlers often, but I don't know if Knuckle can pull me some stats to see if I'm making it up or if
I can probably tell you something, as Pollard is in and met by Ali. He drops the bat. They're going to have to really hurry. Shy Hope gets in a throw again. They had to really scamper to get home, but get home they did. I know he does reasonably well at Barbados.
Because it looks to all the world, doesn't it, like it shouldn't be a problem. Because it doesn't look like it's too quick, but it's so accurate and well thought out, and the variations seem to be the right variations for the right time of overs. So it's
every time I see him bowl, he bowls according to what the surface is actually saying.
Yeah, he's bowling to Jason Roy, who punches away towards mid wicket, and they take an easy single. He had this. I think this might have been before yesterday, but I don't think, did he take a wicket yesterday? I can't remember. He's got 38 wickets at 28 with a best of 4 for 25 in T20s, which would have been against Ireland, which is tidy.
Years ago, I think.
And that was against Ireland, which he got into certain kits in 2020, the 4 for 25. It's still pretty decent. His 300 T20 wickets, including domestic and internationals. When you put the two together, that's not bad at all.
Roy Pom says that Moeen needs a new jingle. Amla is well retired from international cricket. Anna Forsyth, hello all. I'm with you on test success over white ball, at least right now. I might feel differently if they hadn't won the World Cup in 2019. To be honest, if you were to give me my chance of everything, competitive is what I'm aiming for. Competitive, entertaining.
You know, it's really interesting you asked the question though, because I have actually been thinking about it, not knowing you were going to ask me that question, and I did come to the conclusion that I love T20 and I love ODIs, but I'll hold that thought as we wait for Fabian Allen again, who's going for his third over, and this one is pushed. Really, it was a meaty old push, but a push nonetheless down towards mid-on, and he will get a single.
From Sabina Park to Eden Gardens, I know I've got to see him play, cause he might turn out the best. I'm a dedicated fan of Fabian Allen.
Dedicated follower of fashion, dedicated fan of Fabian Allen, who is left arm over, and that's lofted by Moeen Ali, but does he have enough of it over towards that leg side? In fact, it drops short and plugs of the man at deep mid wicket, and the 50 comes up for England in not the most convincing fashion. And I think, what did they
do? Barber.
Yeah, they did take two.
Did he lose that? Did he lose that in the?
I think he did. We need to have another look
because he goes a long way up.
High. It was sort of flamingoed up it went, and yes, I think you're absolutely right. It was lost. In comes Fabian Allen. This one is just flicked towards short mid wicket this time, and there's no run. 51 for 2.
I don't think I don't think he lost it. I just don't. He didn't lose it mid-flight. I don't think he picked it up right from the beginning, and so couldn't get there in time.
All I'm saying is Fabian Allen would have dived and taken it one-handed.
Yeah, he probably would have done, and then it would have been on YouTube forever as a viral clip. If I love T20, I love ODIs. Would I go and watch them if Test cricket and/or longer form cricket didn't exist? As this one is turned into a full toss really by a skipping Moeen Ali, who bunts it down the ground towards mid-off, and it's 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Great footwork by Moeen Ali, which is an absolute joy to see. I mean, he turned that into a full toss, and away it went. Fabian Ali again. This one short and wide and dragged down. Actually, it was horrible and cut by Moeen Ali, but there's a man on the deep cover boundary. It will just be a single. It means that it's the end of that over. It's 56 for 2.
Right, on YouTube, Dan De Castro. So England openers are capable of a start, just not much of a start. Vernon Dan, Waste Indies. That seems a bit harsh. Sean Gillingham. Another match with not a chance of Alex Hales being given the chance to make a comeback. A lifetime ban because Morgan doesn't like him. Hales is a lot better than some they have playing. So make of that what you will.
But I've got a question for Match.
Ooh.
Can you help me? I'm still trying to work out my ends here in Barbados at the Kensington Oval. The media centre, is that Joel Garner or Malcolm Marshall? As we wait for Pollard. Oh, well, that was an extraordinary ball. Surely that's a wide. Yes. Like a giant, short-sighted condor, Joel Wilson spreads his wings. And it was indeed a wide. Sorry, Matt, what was the answer? Matt, do you know?
Why?
I feel like the Malcolm Marshall end is a separate end, so it's not that one. I shall come back to you.
There's this one, a swing and a miss. It was an absolute golf shot from Moeen Ali. That would have been straight down the middle of any decent fairway, but somehow it was.
What golf do you play? He's trying to turn that through 45
you're
degrees.
Absolutely right. Yeah. When I see the other angle of that, you're absolutely right.
Good God.
It was actually. It was very much like my golf, to be fair. That would be heading off to the trees somewhere. Pollard's going to be in again. Right arm over. This one is on the drive, driven away towards extra cover on this centre. This occasion. And it will get him, I think, 2. Yes, it did. It takes England on to 59 for 2. And finally the answer, the media centre, is the Joel Garner end.
There we go.
I was going to say,
media centre, Joel Garner, and that's what
you're
going to remember.
You're going to have some career to have one of those to be in the reckoning, to have the name.
Well, you are in Barbados, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Pollard, again, that's dropped short. And once again, Joel Wilson is going to take off if he has to keep flapping his arms anymore. Because that was horrible. What's he trying to What's he striving for, Mash, that he's not achieving?
I think he's trying to make Moeen play a rash shot and reach for one here, but he's not getting his line right.
Here comes that's better. Moeen Ali has got a top edge. Does he have enough of it? Is it going to drop straight to the fielder? No, it's been put down at deep mid wicket. Moeen Ali survives. It's not the first time he's put one up there.
No,
it's 62 for 2. It should be 61 for 3.
And literally just said what the plan was.
Yeah. It is down in, well, I mean, on our pictures that seems to be in shadow right into the sun, doesn't it? If the shadow seems to be that deep,
who was that who put it down?
Intense.
Nicholas Puram.
Yeah, it was Puram.
And he's one of the better fielders.
He is. Well, Pollard, he's going to be probably seething inside, but he's getting on with his work, and this is driven down to deep mid off. Just a single, 63 for 2. The run rate 6.5.
I guess that's more evidence of what I'm saying. Pollard's a clever bowler. He's or more, certainly more effective than people probably give him credit for.
Yeah, well, no, he is. He is. He's just got it wrong on a couple of occasions there. I still never did finish my point. I wouldn't watch T20s or ODIs if the Red Ball game didn't exist. That was the point I was ultimately leading to, even though I love both of them. But taken without the foundation of the longer format game, I wouldn't therefore keep watching the other two formats. That was the point I was labouring my way towards, not doing a very good job of it. As Pollard is going to be in, 2 balls left of this extended over, and this one is cut, but really cut just as far as cover. Enables Jason Roy to jog a simple single. He's hardly been motoring along. In fact, by his own quite aggressive standards, this has been a Sunday afternoon drive, not a race for Jason Roy. It's 17 off 23. It's very much a poodle, not a Grand Prix. And this steered away. No run by Ali as well this time. So decent finish to the over from Kieran Pollard. At the end of which England are 64 for 2. Mo and Ali on 16. Jason Roy on 17. And we will have a change in the commentary box.
Hello. It's Jacob Jaffer, and I'm joined by Knuckle and Brian Barish.
Hello.
Hello, Jacob. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Brian. How are you?
I'm good. See, you got your wish. We're reunited at last.
At last, Knuckle, the scheduling god, has put us on together, or Tony, the scheduling god.
It was me. It was me.
It was Knuckle. Excellent. Tony clearly hates our budding partnership, Brian. He's just jealous.
Yesterday, we saw the pace and bounce of the surface doing for England. This pitch looks a little bit tacky, like the ball's not quite coming onto the bat.
Yes, it does. There seems to be a noticeable difference in the pitch, and a noticeable difference in England's performance, being 64 for 2 rather than 103 all out, which is always nice to see.
Roy's not really timed much, apart from that one lovely straight drive that he hit off Sheldon Cottrell, and we've seen Moeen mistime 2 straight up in the air, one of which definitely should have been caught and one of which probably shouldn't have been caught. Pollard's bowling 3 overs on the trot with his almost sort of early 20th century style cutters, almost fast spin bowling, and we have not seen Jason Holder after his first over. This is a very different surface. It is a new pitch, a fresh pitch, or a different pitch from the one that was played on yesterday, and it seems to be playing very differently.
You often get this with slightly fresher pitches, don't you? They can be a little slow. It takes them a bit of a minute to, especially you see it in a test match, a very fresh pitch. The first day it will be a bit slow and tacky, and then it quickens up as it starts to deteriorate before it takes spin. Obviously not in a T20 the time to see that process happen, as you join us halfway through England's innings in a drinks break, with England 64 for 2. Jason Roy 17 off 23 not out. Mo and Ali 16 off 15 not out. Pretty even paced. Tom Banton made a nice 25 off 18 before he was caught and bowled nicely by Fabian Allen, and then Allen also bowled Vince for his 4.
That was a lovely delivery as well, that turned and gripped a little bit, and it hit the off bail so gently. There are no zing bails in this series that the umpires didn't actually realise, and neither I think did the wicketkeeper Shea Hope that he'd been bowled. Shea Hope was actually going for the stumping, then realised that one of the bails was on the floor. The rare situation of the TV umpire having to have a look at a bowled.
As it's Fabian Allen who'll come back for his 4th and final over of the innings. He's bowled well. He's got 2 for 26 from 3, and in he is to Jason Roy, who's rocking back and cutting through the offside down towards the 3rd man boundary, and that should, yes it will, run away for one of these.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Allen's been doing very well. The spinners have been doing well, bowling a little bit quicker into the surface, and that was a very nice shot from Roy, cutting off the top of off stump.
As Allen is in again. That one's a bit straighter and back foot punch from Roy towards the same sort of region, but this time we'll find the man fielding there, and there will be no run. There was a time, Knuckle, was there not, when Jason Roy was considered to be quite weak against left arm spin, but he's not getting out as regularly to it as he was, as that's been smashed. Really? That's been smashed from Jason Roy, and the crowd will throw that back.
Hit that incredibly hard. Wasn't a particularly bad ball from Fabian Allen. It's just a length ball on off stump, but Roy getting out ahead of the of getting his arms out and getting his extension into the ball, making the pace, and absolutely hammered it over mid-wicket. Hard and flat for 6.
You know how sometimes you can just feel how good that felt to connect it as if you were standing there? That's how that felt.
It's one of those you wouldn't even feel off the bat.
Yeah.
The good old slog sweep, really, from Jason Roy, mixed with the classic slog to cow, as he's gone for it again, and that's gone very high and very hard, and that will be another one. That's almost out the ground.
I've 2 6s in a row, 2 6s in a row, 2 6s in a row.
Jason Roy clearly hearing my comment about him being weak against left arm spin and deciding he's completely marmalade.
He's become a pretty good player of spin in the last few years. It was a weakness of his, but he's worked very hard on it. He sweeps well, he reverse sweeps well. He's just using that little bit of extra pace. Again, there's nothing particularly wrong with that ball. He didn't toss it up, it's not too full, but Roy's just stepped and absolutely mullered it 95 metres, as you say, nearly out the ground. He was going at under 5 and over before this over, and he's now hit 16 runs in 4 balls.
I think they're changing the ball. Possibly Roy has knocked the ball out of its own skin, or I don't know if it's
I think they've lost it. I think they've lost it.
Yeah, they lost it. Oh, I thought I saw it get thrown. Oh no, that was on the first one they threw it back. On the second one, we may have lost the ball, and a new one is being handed to Fabian Allen.
There's another one.
Oh, and another one's come on the field.
I think they may have found the original one. Yeah, I think that's the case.
Yeah, someone running a fruit stall or something's found that. Hello, what's this?
in amongst the apples and pears, we have a white cricket ball.
This is the weirdest looking lemon I've ever seen.
This is like Jason Roy has suddenly, someone's found the power switch all of a sudden.
And what power it is, indeed, as now with original ball in hand, Fabian Allen will trot in for the penultimate ball of his final over. His figures were looking pretty good until here, and Roy has pulled him away for a 4 this time, a 4.
That went like a tracer bullet.
Been saying there haven't been poor balls. That was just a little bit too full from Fabian Allen. Step and hit again from Roy's, peppering the leg side.
Yeah, that Fabian Allen's figures slightly destroyed by this. And what's happened there? Have we missed a ball?
It was outside. It was quick outside off stump, and Jason Roy this time he started with a 4 through the offside. He's finished with a 4 through the offside, and having been 17 off 23, he then takes 24 off the next over. Fabian Allen has his figures go from very good to faintly disastrous, 2 for 50 off 4, and England are up and motoring now at 84-4-2, and this is the latent danger in this England batting lineup. That was a hell of a demolition job that Roy just pulled on Fabian Allen.
All right, let's get up on some tweets if we could. Josie Oak saying we want England test team to play like Liverpool. Unfortunately, they're playing like Everton. Hey, Gary. Leia doesn't want Mash to shave his stash, just do a Caribbean Mifune. And Mog saying I was occasionally accused of playing golf using cricket shots. Well, the last time I played cricket, I hit a lot of 6s. And we're back to play with Jacob.
We are indeed, and Jason Holder will return to the attack, former West Indian captain.
He's Jason Holder, ready or not. He's gonna take a wicket if you like it or not.
And he's in to Moeen Ali, and that is an off-cutter which is cut wide. That was it's wide signalled by, I believe that's Cheryl Wilson, and a wide from Jason Holder.
Presumably this was a planned change to bring him on back in the middle. They bowled one over in the power play, bowled the second over after bowling so magnificently yesterday. Only went for 2. Bit of a surprise he didn't stay on, but now he's up against Jason Roy, who's got his eye in.
And he's back in, and Ali is slapping that one very nicely towards cover, but it's being stopped by the diving cover point, and there will be no run as England are 89 for 2. Roy, as you say, motoring to 41 now from 29, but Holder in pretty good order, just 1 from his first over. He's now he's now 0 for 2 off 1.1 with the wide included, and that could be another wide. It's a wide Yorker. I don't think it's been given as a wide, so a dot ball, a good dot ball from Jason Holder, just the right side of the blue T20 wide line.
Marshall picked this up that Karen Pollard's plan was to bowl very wide across Moeen and make him fetch the ball. You don't want to be bowling anywhere that he can pick you up over the leg side, and Jason Holder's continuing that so far in this over.
As he's in again to Ali, who's countering that by stepping across. He's had it on the full and he's slapped it straight back down the ground, straight as a ruler, and it will be 4.
1 2 ka 4, 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Smart batting from Moeen Ali. Recognised what Holder was trying to do. Holder just missed his length, and Moeen equal to it. And out of nowhere, this partnership is now worth 50.
53 from 36 to be precise. Moeen Ali 20 off 18. Jason Roy 41 off 29, having motored through Fabian Allen. And Jason Holder is back in again to Moeen Ali, and again it's wide, and Ali's attempted to step out and fetch that over the leg side with a slog sweep, but it's beaten the diving keeper and I don't think he's made contact with it. It will go away, but oh no, it's been given as 4 runs. He has top edged that off the slog sweep. The keeper has failed to catch it. That was a good chance actually, and it's run away down to the third man boundary for 4.
It just had a little bit too much pace on it for Shea Hope to get to. Again, Moeen Ali trying to pick that ball up over the leg side from bodily outside off stump.
He's got a few lives as Moeen Ali, as Holder is in again, and Ali has tapped that back to him, and there'll be no run. And that's the no, it's not the end of the over yet. There's 1 ball remaining. I forgot to factor in the wide.
Again, Holder bowling across Moeen. I mean, that wasn't really a catching chance off the second full, but it wasn't far away.
As Holder in again to Ali, who isn't stepping this time, and that has beaten him on the outside of the bat. And there is, oh no, I think he slapped that to a fielder actually, and it's no run, dot ball. And that's the end of the over. England 97 for 2 from 12.
All right, Mog saying I'd be happy enough if 50 over cricket disappeared into the shadow world and we only ever saw tests in T20s. That was an earlier conversation. Jeff wrote a nice little jingle about Annie, which you can see on our feed. The Jersey Jingler saying if anybody wants to write a new Moeen jingle, go for it. So he said he sent one in yonks ago. Jeff Perkins, and those that Knackle has brought us together, let no Tony try to tear apart. That is with us there. Nestlers, I've now lost my side of the bed. Oh, you're talking about his cat. Now he has a side along the wall. Yeah, I have those cats again. And Armchair Cricket Podcast. Yes, I can read tweets. Jason Roy, key for England. They would do well to keep wickets in hand for the last 5 overs. And I believe we have a new bowler that Knackle will jingle up.
Strange looking scorecard. Fabian Allen after that over's his analysis 12.5 and over. No one else going at 6.5, more than 6.5.
As Romario Shepherd is in, and that would have been a wide, but Roy has attempted to slap it slog sweep style onto the leg side. He's bottom edged it, wrong footed Shea Hope trying to account for the wide, and it's gone exactly where the keeper would have been standing had he not moved, and 4-4.
Got a feel for Shea Hope there a little bit. It's like being a goalkeeper and the ball deflects off a defender into the other corner.
The ball has effectively rugby sidestepped Shea Hope.
It was a juke move in Madden NFL. No, that I was going to use that same analogy that Knackle did. It's like you're positioning yourself for the ball, and then the defender sticks his foot out for some stupid reason.
Yeah, Roy could have very easily left that, and it would have been a wide. But that one is slapped straight to long on, and I think it's Kieran Pollard takes the catch. Jason Roy will not have another T20-50. He's gone for 45, and Romario Shepherd boundary and out yet again.
Nicely bowled from Romario Shepherd, just ran his fingers over it, dipped on Roy a little bit, beating in the flight, and it looked immediately as it left the bat that it wasn't going to have the elevation, and Kieran Pollard's not going to drop that. That demolition job of Fabian Allen. Roy flicked the switch when it was starting to look like he was wasting time, ends up 45 off 31, which is perfectly respectable, and England have a platform from which to go, 101 for 3.
Let's very quickly catch up on YouTube. Dan DeCastro saying, so England openers are capable of a start. Well, they got them off to a pretty decent start, but this partnership's been doing better. Vernon Dan, waste Indies. That's very clever. Sean Gillingham, another match with not a chance of Alex Hales being given the chance to make a comeback. A lifetime ban because Morgan doesn't like him. Hales is a lot better than some they have playing. And the new man into the crease, this is what he sounds like.
Here he is, Odysseus himself.
Stroking the ball through the covers, pinging it deep through backward. Billings is softly scoring runs. Billings is softly hitting long, laying his own shots undeterred. Billings is softly scoring runs.
Yes, fresh from the ashes, it is Bilbo himself, Sam Billings, facing up against Romario Shepherd in what I believe to be a change to the established order, as he will pat that one into the leg side and there'll be no run. I think Owen Morgan was slated to come in next, but Sam Billings has shifted up.
Yeah, I think the fact that England have got a decent platform from which to build means that Billings has been given a chance to bat. He did look pretty jet-lagged yesterday, I have to say, particularly when keeping, and you can't really blame him after his journey. You wonder if he should have been picked, and probably may not have been picked if Liam Livingstone had been available, which he isn't again today either because of a slight illness.
As it's another dot ball for Billings. I'm not up to date. What's happened to Liam Livingstone? Is he hurt?
No, he's got a slight illness and so missed the first two. He's in the dugout today, so he may well be available for the third of the T20 on Wednesday. It's not COVID, which is what you have to caveat every illness.
He could be returning very shortly if some pundits have their way, and he'll return to the West Indies in March with the Test squad, some think. As Billings has got that one behind square on the offside, and it will run away to the boundary for 4.
A bit short, not that wide actually from Romario Shepherd. It's a good shot from Billings. It's not the easiest of pitches to time the ball on from what we've seen, but he cut that comfortably up and over backward point, very nicely timed.
Slightly off the top edge, but it was safe all the way, and it's beaten the man at third man for 4. And the next ball, Billings brings his bat down nice and straight and just pats it straight back to Romario Shepherd. That's the end of the 13th over. England 103 for 3.
Worth mentioning that they've now beaten their total from yesterday in 7 less overs, so gold star. Back on Twitter, Mog, they're talking about cats. Cats were simply not cognitively evolved enough to understand what they see when they look. To Annie from Mog saying, I hear the counties are planning a bronze statue, which they absolutely should for the work that Annie's done. some conversations here. Mog saying Morgan was due to come in next, but since he can't bat for shit anymore, Billings goes instead. And Tony Bishop, I guess, saying, here I stand with my everlasting fame. That's part of that conversation that Jeff and Annie are having. And we're back to play with Jacob.
As Karen Pollard is into Moeen, and that's another wide one, but a little too short, and Moeen slapped that into the offside, but I think he will only get the single for that. Yes, he will. West
Indies clearly know how dangerous Moeen is, particularly against the spinners, but also against the quicker bowlers and the cutter bowlers. And Pollard has been very, very cautious of going into his hitting arc. Everything has been outside off stump, making Moeen do the work. He's very good at the old slog to cow, is Moeen. The primo T20 shot, the slog to cow, as Pollard jumps wide on the crease, spearing one in towards Billings, and he will not get any runs for that. I think he just hit it straight to the field. I'm on a slightly jumpy feed, I'm afraid. Straight back to the bowler. Billings trying to come down Billings trying to come down the track and get some energy and force into the strokes with Karen Pollard bowling exclusively cutters and taking the pace off on this slightly tacky Kensington Oval surface, which is the right thing, but Pollard's a very clever operator. As he's in again to Billings, right arm over the wicket, languid jog in, and that will be a wide. Wide. Trying to get that. Got that one a little bit wrong, trying to spear that into the pads, into the toes of Sam Billings, trying to keep him guessing. Billings, by contrast, I think is somebody you don't want to go too wide to because he plays the cut shot so well. Yes, indeed, as he again jumps wide on the crease, and Billings will get that into the offside, and they'll just get through, into the leg side even, and they'll just get through for one. I think all wicketkeepers go to the same school when learning the square cut. All wicketkeepers seem to be able to cut well for some reason. It is very possible. They all seem a little too friendly. It's very suspicious. As Pollard still over the wicket, this time to the left-handed Moeen, again being careful not to get it in his hitting arc, but that one was. And Moeen has, well, he's crunched it for 6 over the leg side boundary. That is why you don't bowl into Moeen hitting arc, because with just a little flick of the wrists, he can send you into the stands. He makes it look so ridiculously easy. That is exactly the shot he would have won, just on his pads, a little bit short, and he just pulled it away from around the knee roll into the stand. And Pollard in again. Moeen stepping across this time and not getting the success he desires, as looks like he's out. He's been caught. I think he's carved it straight to short third, although I think the umpires are going to check whether it was a bump ball. It was again angled across Moeen. He tried to steer it past the short third fielder. It went straight to him. The umpires, Nigel Duguid and Joel Wilson, are having a chat. I suspect this will be sent upstairs yet again. Boundary and out for the umpteenth time in this series. The soft signal from Joel Wilson is out, so there has to be conclusive proof that it was not a clean catch. The West Indies look fairly happy with it. I think they're pretty convinced. I haven't seen Moeen yet, so I don't know what his reaction has been. James Vince was almost back in the dressing room by the time his fate was decided, as we will see the DRS. And I'm a little behind, but I think that's out. I think what has happened is it's a wide Yorker. Yes, it's out. The ball's very close to the bat when it pitches, and then the bat has hit the ground, which led to the slight confusion. And the ball's pitched and sort of slid off the open face of the bat to short third, where it was a very simple catch for Sheldon Cottrell, and another England batter just missed after hitting a boundary. A decent-ish innings from Moeen, who wasn't quite at his best and was bowled well at by the West Indies. He goes for 31 off 24. England 114 for 4. Yes, and it's confirmed. You messed about.
let's get caught up on social media while we have a moment. Leia saying that she wants me to get a Mifune shave and a fake Adidas Kimono. Well, I did have a Fu Manchu at one point, which I might share if everybody behaves. Diana Patterson saying Anna Forsyth may disagree, but I can't imagine a hockey commentator referring to Odysseus for a player who drove a long way. That's why we're not hockey commentators.
I mean,
Diana.
he did fly 15,000 kilometers and then played 2 days later. What was the journey? Well, I mean, he drove. So yes, he did drive.
He drove from Queensland to Hobart.
He drove from Brisbane. Well, he drove from Brisbane to Sydney. Then obviously joined up with the team in Hobart. Then flew Hobart to Sydney to Los Angeles to Miami to Barbados, I think.
That is indeed the journey he's taken, as Owen Morgan, Captain Morgan himself, is in, and that's off the outside half of his bat, running in to the offside. Jason Holder will collect it, and I'll just get through for a single. Morgan off the mark immediately. That's the end of the 14th over. England 115 for 4.
Let me just jingle up Captain Morgan, who I think took 10 balls to get off the mark yesterday.
He'll never stop. I thought we were continuing the Port Adelaide song. Anyway, Warren, my memory is so very poor, so please excuse any potential copyright infringement. But Moeen. Knackle likes the jib of his cut, says Jeff Perkins.
The jab of his cut from Sam Billings, yes.
My cat was coming in. Also, Mog saying, "Guerrilla cricket, is it a little hard to drive? It is a little hard to drive from Hobart to the mainland." I was just about to interject that there may have been a ferry or a puddle jumper in that at some point. And I'll get back to Leia's tweet in a minute.
As Morgan on strike to, I think it's Akeem Hussain, isn't it? They haven't changed the scorecard yet, but I think it's Akeem Hussain. He's cut that one into the offside for no run. Yes, it is. Akil Hussain.
Won't appeal.
Tidily early on, one in the power play, and then the first post power play over, number 12 of 2.
As he's in to the left-handed Morgan, who will drive that towards long off and get through for the single. I believe this is the last over before this little trio is shuffled around in some capacity.
I'm going to bugger off for a few. And then later on, it'll be switched. I'll be on ball by ball, and you'll be doing socials.
Aha. Back on socials. I have the scheduling gods have not deigned me to be on socials for a while. I think since Jay Grover's expletive-ridden complaints about me, as that's top edge from Billings. It's gone straight up. There's a man running round to catch it, and it is caught as Akil Hussain stirs the pot in celebration and tastes the soup. Sam Billings gone for 5.
Again, one just sticking in the wicket a little bit. Billings through the shot a little bit too early. I think Akil Hussain might have done this, gone for the Salt Bay celebration there. A little bit of sprinkle there. I'm sure we'll read a feature piece about that at some point. Sam Billings has not made an impact in this series thus far. 5 off 7. England in a little bit of a sticky patch now. 116 for 5, having been 101 for 2. It's been good from the West Indies in the middle overs.
Sam Billings has been with the Test team too long, clearly. Shall we catch up on some tweets just while we're in this little wicket break?
We should. Leia from before, follow and subscribe for Simulated War Crimes. That's what you're in for. In it, half squares of cardboard behaving badly. I think we're back to play now.
We are, and that is Akil Hussain has his hands on his heads. I think that's beaten Morgan, or he's cut it off the inside edge, backward of square, and got no run.
Well, I'll ask a question here after this ball from Twitter.
As Hussain into Morgan, gentle little stroll in, hop and a skip, and that's on the back foot, patted rather than padded up towards long on, and they'll get through for a single.
The question from Dave Wood. So the big question is, what is Sam Billings' average speed for the month of January?
That's true. There's a lot of very high-speed metal that he's been sitting within. Enter Chris Jordan, who smashed the ball around to all parts yesterday to get England over 100.
Chris Jordan's back.
Up above Liam Dawson after his 6 hitting yesterday.
As Hussein's into Jordan, who tucks that off his hip. It's gone to the man at short third. There's shouts for an attempt for a run out, but they're pretty safe in the end. That will end the over. Brian Barish will hop off for a bit. I think Al Hotchkiss or Tony Bishop. Tony Bishop will come on. I'll move to summarization, and Al Hotchkiss will also hop on. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Howdy and indeed doody.
Yep. It hardly seems a couple of moments since I was last here.
Yeah. So your twin
several
brother
wickets.
not 5 overs ago. Right. 118 for 5, folks. 15 overs in the books. Death or glory. Well, mad thrash for runs or glory. As far as England are concerned, one down in this series. Morgan and Jordan are your batsmen. We're bound to have a bit more of... it's going to be Kieran Pollard who's going to polish off his 4-over spell. 1 for 22 so far. Off 3. He'll come trundling in, wide of the crease. Jordan will push that into the offside field, and there'll be a single taken.
You might have thought with his 104 kilometre trundling, Kieran Pollard might have picked himself up a pretty nice county cricket contract at some point.
Probably not enough money.
Probably not. He could
make
captain the Mumbai Indians in the IPL.
Yeah,
and,
played for Somerset for a while.
more.
He had a spell at Somerset, didn't he? If I'm right, Kieran Pollard. Pretty
Think
sure
so.
he did. Yeah.
I don't think his interests lie in the West Indian Test team anymore.
Pollard in to Morgan. And he will not let the ball go out of his hand. Maybe a last-minute thought of something else going through his mind. So we'll reset and we'll do that whole thing again. So where do you reckon we'd be? 119 for 5 predictions, total predictions, gentlemen.
140 something.
140 something. Higher or lower, Jacob? As Pollard is in and that is wide, thrashed, and it's gone beautifully with an edge, but the gap between Shea Hope and a very fine third man, and that's gone for 4 streaky runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Streaky, Jacob, or well placed?
Streaky. I'm going to go higher. I'm going to say in the region of 155, 160.
Well, there was some science in my thinking. The domestic first innings average score has been 144 and 145 in the last.
That is wide. That should be almost be worth 2. It was that wide from Pollard. Was not great as Pollard is in again wide of the crease to Morgan, who will again cut that to deep cover singles. So that is 6 off the bat and 1 wide so far off 3 balls. Score now 125 as Jordan does some readjustment in the glove department.
I always like how bowlers are never sort of Steve Smithian in their glove maintenance. They don't have 20 pairs of them. They don't sort of ask for more midway through the innings. They just kind of get on with it.
Yeah, just 1 pair. That's all I need. Fuller length delivery. Jordan half defensively pushes down to long on.
Also very hard to bowl in gloves, though, isn't it?
It's difficult to do a lot of things in gloves.
Well, it depends how thick the gloves are, I suppose.
It depends on the sort of gloves. Surgical
It depends
gloves
on the
can be
person
quite-
using
can be
the
quite
gloves.
sort of.
You've transformed this into a whole minefield of conversation.
You wouldn't want your open heart surgeon to be attacking you wearing a sort of a pair of motorcycle gauntlets, would you? To be honest.
Steve gloves.
I wouldn't want anyone to be attacking me, let alone an open heart surgeon. As Pollard is in And that is a slower ball, back of a length. Pollard and Morgan will cut the ball, but only again to deep cover. Single. So 4 singles, 1 streaky boundary, and you're wide, leading to 1 ball left in the over. Pollard with figures of 1 for 31.
Not too bad in the end. Chris Jordan had a good go of it the other day. I'm sure he'll start winding up in a moment. He's not there to just pad it around a run a ball. He's there to, well, hit some balls.
He is indeed, but he will hit that ball just behind square on the leg side, and there will be a single. He'll keep the strike. He's on 4. Morgan on 9. England 4 overs left. 128 for 5.
Jersey Oak saying Calypso Collapso again. Brass is the way to go, says Warren. I'm not quite sure apropos of what, but Jeff was involved in it. Morg, it's odd how few people spot my subtle Port Adelaide thievery in that Morgan jingle. Yet here we have an American, of all people, bringing it up. American. Sadly, Jacob, I wield no such power, says Jay Grover. Believing, I think, going back to your lack of tweet reading. George McPherson would help with Morgan getting a few quick runs. Certainly would.
Just any runs.
Anna Forsyth, the Canucks broadcast team is awesome because they've known each other forever, but they are more likely to reference ketchup than Greek mythology, although ketchup is basically Canadian mythology.
Make of that what you will.
Yes.
The Good Shepherd returns.
Warren is saying Dolly is turning in her corset, whether that would be Dolly Parton.
Right. Now, Shepherd's not going to bowl his full quota, but it seems like he'll bowl 2 of the last overs, as that is from around the wicket, and that is a full-length delivery right onto the blue line. And Jordan makes no movement with his feet and flails and swings and misses at that ball. So we think Shepherd's going to bowl overs 17 and 19. Do we reckon that means Holder's going to bowl the other 2 from the other end, chaps?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? I mean, Holder can certainly play that role to the death. Maybe Cottrell might get another one, kind of change it up with the left arm angle. You might only have Shepherd get 2.
Shepherd going around the wicket, and that's been turned around the corner by Jordan just before it careered into his middle and leg stumps, and that's beaten short fine leg, and that's gone all the way for 4. The guard that Jordan has taken up in order to counteract the angle is quite pronounced. At least 1.5 stumps exposed as Shepherd is letting the ball go. Maybe that's what the small fielder bowler conference is saying as Shepherd comes in again. And that is top edge toe end, and that is up in the air and lands safe by long off. By the time that Holder gets the ball in, they've ran for 2.
That certainly is an odd guard that Jordan's taking. You'd think if he could nail it, a leg stump Yorker from round the wicket would be something that would definitely finish him off. But I suppose if he missed that length, he just tickles it round the corner and it's fine down to third man boundary.
Yeah. It was in the air, not quite well timed enough to reach Holder on the boundary, that third ball, and that's why it only went for 2. Jordan's now on 10. See a bit more intent from him now. Shepherd in again, and that's the angle that goes across Jordan, but Jordan this time helps it on its way through the offside, and that, I believe, has gone the distance. Fabian Allen is there, but all he's doing is trying to pick the ball out from behind the boundary sponge, and that's a maximum for Chris Jordan.
Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6.
I'm seeing a replay now about how close it was. No, I think Fabian Allen couldn't really have done much about that one, chap.
Well, he's a very good fielder, Fabian Allen. If anyone's going to do something about it, it's probably him. But that's cut uppishly from Jordan, and it's gone and sailed over the boundary.
Slightly straighter from Shepherd coming over the wicket. Jordan will play it down, mistimed it though, down towards long on, and there'll just be a single. And 141 is the score with one ball left of this over. Yeah, just slightly.
He gave it a good
quite
go,
full on there, but I mean the way that he was diving towards the ball, he could have done nothing but go over the sponge anyway. So nice window dressing, but I think 6 all the way. And there's just one ball left of the 17th over. Now, the question I think now is, with this onslaught, with 13 runs coming off this over so far, as Shepherd's in, and that is down the leg side, that's going to be a wide. Left-hander's privilege. Too many balls down the leg side. Do either of you guys play left-handed?
No.
Oh, you don't know what you're missing. Just standing the other way and bowlers just don't know what to do.
I tried it for a bit, but I always missed the straight ball.
Morgan backs away and slaps this ball over extra cover. Quite acrobatic shot, and well timed enough that will go over the boundary sponge, and that's 4. And Morgan's on 13. Quite an expensive over that from Shepherd. Not sure who'll bowl the 19th. Tony.
When you've got
Jersey
in
Oak.
reserve, you possibly put him in.
Jersey Oak was saying Morgan appears to be not able to mistime it off the square, let alone middle a 4. Well, he did middle that one. Brian Barrish, the only reason I know Jim Houston is because of the NHL games, and he is liking this. I think she's liking Jeff's lyrics from the Love Affair song, Everlasting Love, or Everlasting Fame as it is for her. Leah says, damn, you can't mention speed metal without mentioning Creator, spelt with a K. Apparently. You can't? Apparently not. No. Warren, if you can arrange for this to be over before the Bills game starts, it would be much appreciated. Do what we can, Warren. Mog says, Tony bringing the tone of the conversation down with his dodgy glove comments. Were they dodgy?
Only in the minds of... It's going to be Jason Holder who's going to bowl, and that's too far on the hip of Jordan, but he can only pull it down to the only man that's within 50 yards of where that ball was going to go, and it's just a single. And now I'll let Knackle do his jingling.
He's Jason Holder, ready or not. He's gonna take a wicket if you like it or not, and then make runs because he's the top all-rounder. He's Jason Holder.
Typical. Just one fielder in a vast expanse of sunlight, and Jordan managed to pull the ball on the bounce to him. Just a single there. He's missed out. Morgan's swung and missed. He took a step outside off stump, trying to be able to heave the ball back towards the leg side, but Holder's length slightly just back of a length there. Jacob saw him coming a little bit.
Yeah, he possibly saw Morgan looking to attempt to have that big swipe at it, and he's just pulled his length back a touch, just beating him on the outside edge. Good bowling. Hold.
And he's always, with that ball that he pulled back, he's gone Yorker length, exactly the same line, and Morgan's betwixt and between, doesn't know whether his left leg's in or out, and that's gone through to the keeper as well. He's got him thinking here, Tone.
Well, yeah, he's definitely out of nick. He's not seeing the ball, timing the ball. I mean, yes, he's hit one good shot, but it's... Oh, mind you, there you go.
He's hit another one, possibly. This one's gone high. It hasn't got the distance. And it has gone down the throat of long on. And Owen Morgan just is not himself.
When do you start calling it a crisis from an Owen Morgan perspective?
Do you want to officially call it a crisis? Is this a crisis meeting?
Yeah, I think his form of late has just been
I mean,
awful.
there was talk of it going into the IPL, and throughout the IPL he performed pretty terribly.
Yeah,
this is now
at the World Cup.
If you've got time for it, actually, this is a crisis for Owen Morgan.
We
England
called it
147
here on Guerrilla Cricket.
That's the power of Tony Bishop, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you ever forget it.
Well,
If he says it's a crisis, it's a crisis.
Unless
Well,
you're
you can make
Supertramp.
holy proclamations.
Yeah. Holy proclamation, Batman.
Well, George McPherson had said, crucial that England try not to lose any more wickets in these last few overs. Owen Morgan sadly didn't get that particular tweet in time.
And this is the next ball, very quickly in. We'll jingle up the new batsman in just a second, but Jordan just tickles the ball behind square on the leg side, and now we will jingle up the new batsman.
Liam, Dawson, Liam, Dawson, Liam Dawson.
I just want that voice to sing Santa Baby. Santa Baby.
Liam Dawson working his way back into the England setup for the first time since 2018, isn't it? And he was a former Test left-arm spinner, slightly discarded in recent years.
Completely discarded. As Dawson will not move his feet. Lucky for him, the ball kind of nips away off the pitch with Holder's cutter, and that's going to be a wide, a lucky wide.
Wide.
It's the old concrete wellies, though, for Liam Dawson, wasn't it, though, Jacob? Not really any movement at all in the feet.
No, not at all. Concrete shoes, rooted to the spot, just reached head going straight over the off stump, and hopefully he can get in a bit more rhythm.
Shaw pulled away by Dawson, and before anyone's had a chance to blink, Fabian Allen go and fetch that from the boundary. 4 runs.
That went like a tracer bullet.
Fabian Allen's looking around like, Poran's looking around like, what just happened? Didn't see that? No, well pulled away. End of that over. Holder is 1 for 17 after his 3 overs. Tony, what we got by way of people interacting by the medium of social media?
Well, Annie Chave, the lovely Saint Annie, is going, I don't want to end up dumped in the river or stolen to melt down. This is apropos of her becoming a statue and what that statue would be made of.
I don't think she quite represents some of the outdated opinions of some other statues. So I think she's quite safe.
Chap who went for a swim in the river. I think I talk quite a lot of bollocks, says Annie Chave.
That's because
we
we're
all
talking
agree
about,
or disagree.
No, it's because
let that one go
we're
by.
talking about my video with Jazz has gone live on the Patreon.
I thought she just meant generally. Oh.
Yeah, well, that's what it's in regard to. It isn't going to be the Good Shepherd. It's going to be Military Fast Pace with Sheldon Cottrell. Wide, first ball.
Wide.
And Sheldon Cottrell come for killing.
As I predicted all along.
Yeah.
Sheldon Cottrell back into the attack, changing up with the left arm angle, and possibly, if Jordan keeps walking across, more able to swing in that leg stump Yorker.
That is caught the outside. Well, I was going to say caught the outside of the bat and spun away from Holder. That ball really was on Jordan before he'd had a chance to do too much with it. Tried to pull it away. It's going to be a 2. Jacob, what I need you to do is put all your fingers together like this and say things like, now, as I have foreseen it. Yes. Yes.
Search your feelings, young one. You know it to be true.
Yeah. Something, dark side. Something, complete. That's what you need.
Precise. Yeah.
Sheldon Cottrell in, that's really quick, and Jordan's not really in too much control of where the ball is going. It's squirted away square on the offside, but by the time fielders are there and the ball's into Shai Hope, it's another 2 to Jordan in this scrambling death of the innings.
Definitely something going on in his head that isn't communicating itself to the bat and then the ball, isn't it?
Yeah, just not. Yeah, it's just too much. It's almost like too much thought. It's like, feel the force flowing through. 2 balls gone in this 19th over.
Feel the force flowing through you.
Indeed, something like that. as that is a full toss, which Jordan has cannily hit with his inside edge, and that's too fine for short fine leg, and that's gone for 4 runs, and it's gone like a rocket.
1, 2, 3, 4.
In his head, that was going somewhere over deep mid wicket.
Yeah.
And where it ended up was extremely fine leg, where there wasn't an extremely fine leg to field it.
Chris Jordan showing the original concept behind being a 360-degree player with edges and balloon shots and various stuff like that. It's a throwback to a different era. His cultural is in again. That's wide and
gone.
Jordan's really thrown the bat at it, but he's only thrown the bat and the ball as far as Jason Holder, and Jordan will have to depart for a scrappy and scrambly 27. Runs, but not necessarily as he might want to play them. He'd certainly, the innings on the scorecard, you definitely take it at this point in the innings, as Knuckle has pointed out.
Struck at 180?
Maybe. I think there's 18 off.
No, he struck it at 180.
Well, true enough.
27 or 15. That's not too bad at all.
Are we going to jingle up new batsmen?
Adil Rashid on the 45. Adil Rashid on the 45. Adil Rashid on the 45. Adil Rashid on the...
And he's swung and missed at a ball that's gone just over the off stump. But that look, and the look on Adil Rashid's face says that was a bit too quick for him.
I've forgotten that Adil Rashid jingle, and every time I hear it, it gets stuck in my head for 3 more days.
Well, there you go.
Same as the Mark Wood thinks he's a horse one. I won't sleep tonight now. Thanks, Knuckle.
Well, you put the Mark Wood jingle in your own head. As Adil Rashid goes hitting the pad, but he's going to be outside the line of off stump. There'll be a leg by scramble. That's the end of the 19th over. There has been a wicket, and there has been 4, 6, 8, 9 runs taken from it. 163 for 7. 1 over left to go. Probably bowled by Jason Holder.
Tony Greenall saying slightly disorientated, switching from an English voice on a BBC NFL commentary to a North American one on Guerrilla Cricket. Small world, innit? That weird Venn diagram, says Brian, of being American a cricket fan and an Aussie rules fan. Mog says the intersection is basically just you at this point. Also, Mog says, how many slave trading enterprises did you have to end up? Do you have to have had to end up in the river?
7.
That is the definitive number? Is it?
The definitive answer is 7.
So my 3 will be fine then.
Yep. You wouldn't even get pushed to the river's edge for 3,
wonderful.
Jacob.
I can have a statue then and be safe in the knowledge.
Safe in the knowledge. Slower ball from Jason Holder, which Adil Rashid does his best to muscle down the ground, but long on will run in and field almost at mid-on and keep everything down to a single. Pollard, cat-like awareness there, seeing the ball dribble in front of him.
By the way, Mob also points out that the Mitchell Santa jingle is Santa Baby, sung in exactly that voice.
Yeah. He has a jeweler's eye for detail as Holder comes running in, and I'm assuming that the ball is caught.
Yes, it is.
It was pulled away, I am assuming, by Liam Dawson. It's been pulled away towards deep mid-wicket, and it's been caught on the boundary. The reason it sounds a little uncertain, as the picture was a little bit jumpy, and no one seems to have celebrated at all.
I'm glad it's not just me, but it is out.
OUT does spell out.
As we have Sahib Mahmood walking to the crease, one of the more aesthetically handsome of the England bowlers these days, I think. It's my 2 cents.
Holder in. That is on the leg stump, and that's been pulled away by Mahmood. into a large open space in a deep square leg, and they're going to come back for 2. So that's slower balls and cutters. That ball was barely over 100 kph from Holder. Maybe this is a lesson to be identified and hopefully learned by the England bowlers in the beginning of the innings to follow.
We saw a chart the other moment saying that the West Indies have upped their slower ball percentage from 9% to 33% on this pitch. So
that is a reasonable thing, as Mahmood tries to back away to hit the ball into the offside, but only fails to make contact with the ball. A criminal dot ball in the 20th over.
A clever ball, though. Really clever ball from Jason.
Well, he didn't really... Mahmood didn't really try to play the ball, did he? It was all predetermined, and so it ends up just looking a bit horrible as Holder is in again. Short of a length, pulled away by Mahmood, and that has gone to the boundary, and we will now determine whether it is a 4 or a 6. It is a 4, sir. 4 of the Queen's runs. Quite a handy shot, though.
Are the Queen's runs only the runs scored by England? Or does it extend to every Commonwealth country, in which case the Ashes was full of the Queen's runs and this...
You heard me, the Queen's runs!
The Queen's runs would be what would necessitate a royal flush, I presume.
Not the bum rush we had in Australia. Yes. Yes, the Knackle is saying that the Queen's runs aren't legal tender in Barbados. I think you find that the Queen's runs are universal tender. You don't necessarily get a good return on the Queen's runs, as Australia proved.
Why did the Tridents become the Royals at the point at which Barbados itself ceased to be royal? That was kind of interesting.
These and many more questions besides will be answered in the second innings.
You hope.
Will they, Al?
No, not at all. Last ball of the innings. Back of a length. Mahmood could only fend it into point. There'll be a single. Mahmood will be on 7. Rashid will be on 2 at the end of 20 overs. And England have made 171 for 8. Fits and starts, but it kind of it threatens to really explode. But I would certainly imagine that. I mean, it's one of those totals where both teams might be happy.
Yeah, honestly, I think so. I mean, if I go back to that domestic T20s first innings average first innings score 145, 146 in 2019. Slightly claggy, ball sticking in the pitch a bit. After yesterday or Friday, yeah, which was yesterday.
I hope so. Otherwise, I'm really late for work.
Otherwise, we're all. Then I think England might just be the happier of the two.
Okay. Well, let's.
Oh no, Saturday was yesterday.
News just in, Tony. It was Saturday yesterday. By dint of it being Sunday today.
It was, yesterday was the first T20 though, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Friday night was Watford.
Do you want to go and have a lie down, Tony?
No, you're all right. I'm supposed to still be on, I think.
Well, yeah, we are going to talk through the innings break.
Do you want to do the scorecard, or shall I do some tweets?
Let's catch up with some tweets, then we'll come back to a scorecard. How about that?
We can. Peter Lloyd also pointed out, if you ask Mitchell Santner over the Mitchell Santner to jingle in the break, you might be satisfied. Al Warren says Aaron Rodgers gone, Brady teetering. It's too good to last. I don't know what that means, I'm afraid.
It's about the American football. The game's half done. We don't.
Is it?
Yeah, it's all right. We don't talk about the demise of Tom Brady until he's actually dead in the ground.
Fair enough. John Alford, good evening from Madrid, guys. Listening with hope. Guerrilla cricket. Well, it depends what you're hoping for, John, but yeah, it could have been worse, let's put it that way.
It springs eternal.
The excellent Messers says, I'm hopefully asleep as I send this pre-scheduled tweet. Okay. Shall I bother reading it? He won't know, will he? Oh, I suppose he'll watch the replay. Just wondering if now is the time to ask whether Morgan's massive decline is continuing. Yes. Without Butler and Bairstow, can England really afford to carry him for his captaincy skills, says Messi Jez, who clearly even thinking. Mog says, Royal Flush, Tony is on form today. Thank you, Mog. And Brian Barrish says, there are a few more of us floating around that are involved in both sports at some level here. They're just not as loud as me. Warren says, does the Queen's runs need a royal flush? That's what I just said. Okay, Warren, I can't remember who said it first. I'm not going to arm wrestle you for it.
Fight.
Leah says, you're right. Squib is what we called Schnuckelchen in German. Okay. Anna Forsyth says, remind me of the old-timey TV show the Mahmood jingle is from. It's very catchy.
Play it again.
Yeah, if you've got that one handy, Knuckle, because I don't know. Jeff Perkins says Bishop doesn't know when Sunday falls in week. That's pretty horrifying.
This is
Convoy.
Convoy from
C.W. McCall.
10-4 rubber duck.
Yeah. C.W. McCall did a version of it as well, didn't he? Am I right? And a terrible version by Dave Lee Travis and somebody else.
Dave Lee Travis?
Yes.
Responsible for something horrible? How dare you? Whack. Oops.
Yes, get them fired up and vocal and on Patreon, says Mog. Jeff Perkins says, until he got ambitious and attempted the weekday order challenge. I think this is still about me not knowing which day of the week it is. Mayank says, fuck Tom Brady, go Eagles. Okay, fair enough. We're almost there. Oh Lord, except there's loads more people on YouTube. George McPherson, even today England would have struggled. Let's hope in the next match the batters can stay at the crease longer than today. It would be nice to see the wicket column be as low as possible. George McPherson also said England need to learn not to give their wickets away, and to be honest, England could have got to around 180, 190 for loss of 5, so they were 20 runs short, with 3 wickets too many lost.
I think I think Jacob, you could make that. If you're in the West Indies camp, you could turn around and easily say they're 10 or 20 short.
Yeah,
you could, but equally, given the domestic average score here, as England, you could turn around and say we're 10 or 20 to the good. So it's just about, you'd say it's just about a par score, maybe a little bit over par, and it'd be interesting to see how the pitch gets on from here, if it quickens up a little bit, but I don't know if it'll be long enough, just 20 overs, for that to happen, especially with the amount of slower balls I expect to be bowled. I think people like Adil Rashid could have a good time. The pitch takes a little bit of spin. I could see Saqib Mahmood and Reece Topley. Mahmood with his skiddier, faster stuff, and Topley a bit taller, maybe Jason Holder sort of role, keeping it tight. A few slower balls, left arm angle. He could probably have a good day on his first T20 for England since the 2016 World.
Yeah, that's been a while, hasn't it?
So what's your prognosis? What do you think? If I ask you to predict a result at this stage?
I think if the West Indies don't get bowled out, and I don't expect them to, I think it'll probably go down to the last couple of overs, and England by 10.
I'm glad you eventually came down on the result.
Interestingly, again, rather counter to everything we believe about T20 cricket, more games are won here by the team batting first than batting second, historically. And again, I look at domestic more than T20 internationals, but it's quite a marked difference between the two when you look at the average first innings scores, and you look as well at who wins when they bat first versus who wins when they bat second. Quickly over in the metaverse, there are 1 or 2 people. Bilal Khan, hello to you. And we're going to say hello to a few others, I think. Wahidullah Amadazi, Kamran Shah, Darindra Persau, Shazad Nurze, Ali Khan. Ooh, it's a name I recognise. So welcome to all of you and others of you too. There hasn't been a domestic T20 at Bridgetown since 2019. Yeah, which is why I looked at specifically the 2018-2019 scores, 145 and 146, which is not exactly at the top end of average scores for T20, is it? It's a sort of a middling area for that. Tony Greenall, you get NFL from Guerrilla Cricket too. You can't.
No, we can do anything you want. Well, answer anything.
I think I might struggle on MFL.
Nah, we'll get you through it.
Other than moving chains and all that kind of stuff.
Hey, DC.
Well, yeah. Well, there you go. You see, I have been to a few NFL games. Warren says, you said it first. I just typed it. Oh, okay. Although slightly concerned that we had the same thought. Yes, Warren, I think, what is it they say about, great minds think alike, or what is it, small minds seldom differ. I will take great between you and me. I think that's pretty much up to date. What should we talk about?
What do you want to talk about?
Ooh.
Price of fish?
No, Owen Morgan. We started a conversation about Owen Morgan.
Well, we didn't have a conversation, Tony. You declared
was that
a crisis.
Just me? I declared
you declared a crisis.
By papal legate, Tony has declared a crisis. And thus a crisis is ordained.
Papal legate? What, you mean I said it and then legged it?
I can. we are merely conduits for the declaration of Tony Bishop.
We are merely Tony. We are Tony's representatives on Gorilla.
Yeah.
Look, there's Tom Sam Curran on the screen. Which one is it? Oh, it's Tom.
It's Tom Curran. You can tell by the long, stupid hair as opposed to the short, stupid hair.
Yes.
Anyway, let's not talk about which Curran is talking.
Yeah,
let's talk about Owen Morgan.
I wonder if he's just ever so slightly bothered that maybe there might be a bit of a reset. And I mean, he has literally had anything he wants, which he sort of denies. He was a little bit, I think, disingenuous when he was asked about, has the focus on white ball in some way damaged England's red ball performance or inhibited it. And he was very quick to go, absolutely not. That is complete and utter nonsense.
It is kind of his job.
I think he becomes
the interest of the white ball game.
I think he becomes the poster child for poor thinking higher up the ECB pecking order. But that's not really. I mean, we'll carry this on. I mean, certainly. I mean, I have to get off because I'm not on for the first 5 overs.
Lord, are we about to go again?
But first ball's about to happen. Knuckles going to do some jingling, and new people are going to appear in your ears.
It might be me.
Once tried to kill him, and AP smashed him off the park. Then Boyd Rankin shattered his hand. But Reece Topley is finally in the side.
What? Wow. Oh my god, it's still going. I thought we'd reached the end, we're still going. It is going to be Reece Topley. He is going to be bowling from the Joel Garner end. We are just waiting, as is Brandon King, as umpire Nigel Dogood finally gives him the signal to come in. He has a slip in place. He starts with a full toss. It's also down leg. It's wide. It's beautifully fielded actually by diving Sam Billings, who looks back probably a bit aghast that Topley didn't really seem to have too much control of that. And it means that the West Indies are off and running. Did he get a tiny bit of bat on that, do we think, Nash?
No, that's a wide.
Yeah, it is indeed a wide. He chased it. It would have taken quite a lot to get a bat on that. And in comes Topley again. That's flicked nicely off his legs by Shy Hope. Backward of the square leg umpire. And it's on leg by. So runs are accumulating without really too much bat involved at any point here. We've had a wide and a leg by, accounting for 3 because they actually managed to run off that first one as well. So it's all been going on.
I could have sworn the ball hit that first ball hit the bat, Tony.
Well, there we go. You and me both, but it didn't. As Topley's in, and that's beaten him. It's gone. It's taken the pad. Up goes Dogood's finger. He's done good there because he has signalled the fact that England have got themselves a wicket. No, we're going to have to review.
Well, that was a quick review, so he must think that he's got bat on that because I thought that was plumb.
I
was definitely in. Were you definitely in? I don't know.
Well, it would be, I think, the first baller, wouldn't it? No, he's faced 2 balls. Let's have a look and see. Did he get bat on that? It swings in.
Ooh, no,
if anything, it might be missing down leg. It does take him. I don't think there's any bat. And it hits the back pad. It's already been given, and it only therefore has to be shaving that leg stump.
That looks like it's drifting down there. It doesn't even look like it's hitting.
But I think you could be right, Mash. You could be right. It pitches fine. The impact is umpire's call, and therefore the impact was in line. And he has to go, but it was close. An umpire do good. Says, there you go, told you. I was right. And Brandon King has to go first ball. Well, that's a decent start for Topley. It's not quite a first baller of Rory Burns proportions in terms of its magnitude, but nonetheless, it's a decent ball. Second legitimate ball. That's what I thought. That it was his second legitimate ball. So that's very confusing to me. But it's down as a golden duck.
So not a spicy golden duck, but a regular golden duck.
No spicy golden duck on this occasion. Well, goodness me, it is England off to a pretty decent start there.
I feel we have these conversations.
3 for 1.
I feel we have these conversations all the time, and it always feels like when you have these conversations, it's whichever fan of whichever side feels they've been hard done by. I'll let Knuckle tune in Puran first, though.
Well, that's sport generally, isn't it, Knuckle? Well, I have to say, I would be sympathetic to your cause on that one, Mash, because that really swung a long way.
Puran's first ball went at a wide one, they nearly nicked off. But what I was going to say, Tony, is I feel that the Hawkeye or whatever has to change its rules. If it's literally just grazing, I just don't feel that you should be giving those ones out. That looked like 0.2% of the ball was touching the wicket.
That was a coat of particularly thin paint, wasn't it? As Topley is going to be in to Puran, who leaves in conventional batter loft style. Does the left-hander, and through it goes to Sam Billings, the much-travelled Sam Billings. We were speculating as to what his average speed was over the last 2 or 3 days, which must have been quite high, I would imagine, given the thousands of miles and the various stop-off points that he had. Most umpires aren't giving that on field, in which umpires call when he's still in. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Knuckle from the green room swung away. He's certainly getting the ball to swing. There's no doubt about that. And again, the left-handed Puran is going to leave that. So the last two to balls that have swung quite prodigiously have been very legitimate and careful leaves by Nicholas Puran.
I think it's the football equivalent of, those VAR decisions where it's like an inch off the shoulder is offside, and you're like, no, this doesn't make any sense.
Those just drive me crazy. They're just ridiculous and pointless. In comes Topley, swinging away again and nearly takes the edge. Billings hops across, takes it. Could so easily have edged that, but didn't. And at the end of the over, it's 3-4-1. Brian.
Hi. My assistant and I will read some tweets here. Josie Oak saying not as good as his dad Don. I don't know what that's in reference to. Martin Lawrence with Don Topley. Martin Lawrence with no context whatsoever. Annie, you are a legend. We know that already. Static 357 referring to Brandon King and Shea Hope saying they opened in Pakistan as well. And we are all caught up. You're trying to play with my mouse, aren't you? You're gonna, Hazel says hello, everybody.
Hello, Hazel. Welcome. Time to watch our language, is it? Do we have to be well behaved now?
Just me. She can't hear you, but you can.
Okay. Oh well, fuck it then.
Speaking of Reece Topley's father, he's reached out to me, so I don't know if Gorilla wants to have a little chat with him.
We'll hold this for a second. As Mahmood is in, right arm over, and this is smashed away, but smashed straight towards extra cover by Shai Hope, and there is no run. Owen Morgan 2 splendid hats on his head. No runs to the West Indies. It is Saeed Mahmood who's right arm over, and that one really hurries up Shy Hope, who was in a complete tangle, took the top of his thigh and went through to Billings, who dived in front of the first slip. That is there, and there was no run. By Jove, he got that to skip through at some speed, didn't he, Matt?
Yeah, this is going to be an examination for the West Indies batting.
Absolutely superb ball. It was half an appeal, I think, but I mean, it was clearly way too high. 3-4-1. England successful, tails up. Mahmood with that slip is in, and it's lofted and lumped powerfully back over his head. May not go, it's plugged. It was more of a 9-iron in the end, and won't make it all the way to that long on boundary. And at the end of the day, they will just get 2, so they move on to 5. 5-4-1.
Tone, when Owen steps down, possibly at the end of this World Cup, or possibly at the end of this World Cup, who's your choice for England's next T20 captain?
That's a very good question. I'm trying to think from this 11 who it could be. We'll just hold that thought as Mahmood is in, and that's nicely turned to mid-on, and there is no run. I would, I mean, Butler's the vice-captain and would normally be in this side, particularly as if we all assume it might be the case. He possibly won't be playing too much more Test cricket for a while. My more left-of-field choice would be Moeen Ali. I'd love to see Moeen Ali given a go at it. I think he has the experience. He's got the mix of steel and sensitivity that I think you need these days. Yeah, I'd be very interested to see that experiment. And this one is a swing and a miss by Shea Hope, and through again to Billings it goes. They're finding it hard work, this opening pair. They're being stiffly examined by Topley and Mahmood. Brian.
There's a love fest going on between Martin and Annie, which I will leave you to read on our feed. Anna Forsyth has just popped up saying, though I agree with Mash, we are going to end up with an arbitrary divide on Hawkeye, where 20% of the ball clipping the wicket is out, 19% is not.
Well, that's a very fine margin, as Mahmood is going to continue, and this one is pushed back to him by Shy Hope. And again, there is no run. Good tight bowling from this opening England pair. It's been hard going for the West Indies, not quite as free flowing as they were last night. That's for sure.
That India South Africa game where Hawkeye had it bouncing over the wicket, did anybody ever did anything ever come out about it malfunctioned, or did we just pretend that it was all right?
You might have to remind me.
No, I'm sure Knuckles about to give me the info on that. Just because it's me harping back to that whole kind of the ball's just shaving the wicket, and is there a chance that actually the technology is wrong?
Technology is not infallible. The theory is it's less infallible than a 50-something-year-old umpire's eyes, which is kind of why it's there. Mahmood is going to will be continuing to Nicholas Pooran, who's yet to score of the 4 balls that he's faced. None for 2 for Mahmood. The wicket, of course, to Topley, rather fortuitously, which is why we've been talking about umpires' calls and reviews and Hawkeye technology. In comes Mahmood, swinging wide and sort of sliced away down to deep backward point. Would just be a single. Tom Banton, who got himself a good start, really got motoring, but couldn't sustain it, sadly, from an England perspective. It's he who does the fielding. It's 6-4-1. We're looking at a couple of grumpy-looking England fans. The sad thing to me is it seems to be mainly England fans there, Mash. I think that's...
Yeah, there's a few more Barbadians than yesterday, though. I will say that much. The cameras have certainly panned on more domestic fans. Maybe because it's a Sunday, although that would be a church day.
As this one swings in, that's a shout from Topley. That looked to me, again, well, umpire do good. Says not on this occasion. But he's getting that swing. Topley is his height is the signal from our Hawkeye, aka Knackle, or height, and possibly going down leg, which is not a good combination. But certainly there was no small amount of swing there. 6-for-1. Topley has looked in very tidy order. You were about to say something about his dad, actually.
Yeah, Don Topley.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had sent me a message yesterday saying that he's available for a chat, and I was thinking of you guys when he messaged me. But Tone, you and I shall have a conversation about this.
Sure.
Air possibly.
Yeah, why not? Absolutely, why not? As in comes Topley, and this one full Yorker and just dug out by Shai-Ho. The net result is a single, and in actual fact, England think they may have got this. Topley got his hand down to it. The ball was diverted onto the stumps, and I think England, who genuinely believe they've lucked their way into a wicket here,
I think this is out.
They seem very sure, don't they?
I don't think the bat's grounded. He's not.
No, he's out by a country mile. Although the other interesting thing there, did he have to divert to avoid the falling Topley, the toppling toppers? I think he may have done a wee bit there, but there's no doubt he was short. We wait for the confirmation. Indeed, out he is. England have their second wicket. It was lucky, but they'll take it. 6-for-2.
He called me for a single and my stump shattered. Do don't run, 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 do don't run, run.
The score graphic there looks like something that the racetracks had back here in the 1990s. It was like just sort of Windows 95 graphics.
Yes. Yes, well, it's going to be DM Bravo, who will make his way. I've also done poor old Reece Topley a bit of a disservice there, because he dived and got a finger to it. He then had to sprint and flick the ball up, and it was actually a terrific and very athletic piece of fielding. So if his dad's listening by any chance, I hopefully now have done full justice to what was an extremely smart piece of A, bowling, because it was a really good Yorker in the first place that was dug out, and B, extremely good fielding. He's going to be in bowling to Pooran again. It's looking for the Yorker again. It's full. Pooran though steers this more effectively towards extra cover, where Owen Morgan is there in his flower pot man hat, and there is no run. Actually, has he got a cap on top of a sun hat?
Yes, he has.
That's what he's got. That's what.
There we go.
That sort of flower pot man look. Pooran on one. And Bravo yet to get off the mark. Topley left arm over in, swinging, and a huge swing and a miss from Pooran. England are just finding so much movement in the air that just wasn't there, I don't think, to anything like the same degree by the West Indies bowlers.
This is going to be very interesting, Darren Bravo in particular, because he gets a lot of criticism in the Caribbean. People think that his time is done, but
Pooran at the moment is the man on strike, slightly squared up, way too short cover. There is no run. Well, if you're Darren Bravo, I mean, what's you're the half brother of Dwayne and the cousin of Brian Lara, so that's a they're big old family shoes, aren't they? That you've always had to slide your feet into.
And the thing is, he's a good player, but because he came back to the West Indies team, he came back in 2019 after he said essentially 2 years out, after he'd called Dave Cameron an idiot. and he didn't have enough cricket behind him, and he struggled. And no one's ever really, I mean, obviously not me, I'm talking in generally. A lot of people haven't wanted him around since then, but it's weird because he's one of our few genuinely talented batsmen. But some would rather him be nowhere near any of our international sides.
Well, he's in some decent form from the T20s in Karachi. He made 34
yeah, did all right.
He's doing all right for Trinidad and Tobago. In the domestic T20. Got some runs, although that was back in September, of course.
The issue, of course, as is always the issue in West Indies, is because Pollard's a Trini, they think Bravo's there because he's Pollard's friend.
Well, Bravo is facing, and he's up onto the back foot to steer this straight to cover off the bowling of Mahmood, and there is no run. Dot ball, 6 for 2. England it is tonight. How 24 hours can change things.
24 hours in a new pitch.
Well, very much a new pitch. It was, although West Indies didn't make the pitch look half as difficult as England did. Let's be honest about that. It was a legitimate thumping where I don't think you can blame the pitch last night. As Mahmood is going to be right arm over and in, and this one's edged down to third man. It was an attempted drive. It was an outside edge, and away it goes. But just a single. There is the man at third man. It will bring Nicholas Pooran back on strike. It means Darren Bravo is off the mark. Not perhaps in the manner of cousin Brian, but nonetheless, he'll take it. And the West Indies will move on to 7. Brian, we missed you out between overs last time. So after this next ball, you
there's not much really to catch up on, to be honest. So you didn't really miss much.
People after the innings break, which I think sort of started a conversation about Owen Morgan, but I'm not sure how far it got. But we shall see. We wait for Mahmood. The slip is in place. It's pulled and not pulled in any kind of direction he was intending. He was looking down towards square leg, I think, and it ended up being fielded by Mahmood off his own bowling, and it's a dot ball, just the one off his first 3 balls of this over.
Pooran's struggling here. He's trying to maximise the power play, but he's not adjusted yet to the
1 off 9. He's not in any way, shape or form maximising the power play as the floodlights shine beautifully and brightly in the Caribbean sky. In comes Mahmood. This one he's launched the bat at, but it's gone backward a square. It's fielded on the dive by Topley, and will just be a single. 2 off 4 balls this over. Bring Darren Bravo back onto strike. Brian.
I don't know if you had touched on the point that Knackle had made to us, is that the ball that got Hope out hit his boot first and would have been given out LBW if England had appealed. So he basically was out twice on the single ball.
Well, that's right. I saw we were looking at the replay. But I think, I'm sure Topley would rather add the wicket into his name rather than the run out. But let's still give him credit for what was a superb piece of fielding. As in comes Saqib Mahmood. This one is cut back with a point, and will be cut for 4. Great shot from Bravo.
Yeah, that was a class shot.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Just perhaps erring a little in line and length there, and just gave Bravo time, but his really quick wrists as he cut this away. Ball was still quite close to his body, but it was wide enough, and away it went for 4. 172, remember the target that the West Indies are chasing. They're 12 for 2 at the moment, as in comes Mahmood, worked off his legs towards mid-wicket. Just a single on this occasion, takes them on to 13. Wicketless is Mahmood. The run out and the LBW decision for Topley, perhaps fortuitous on the LBW that he did get, and could, as we were saying, have had the second one, but then he ran out the batsman anyway.
I don't know if any of the listeners are aware of this. I'm sure there's someone, but just to clarify as to the sponsor situation for West Indies, we believe that the West Indies will have a sponsor in time for the England Test series, but needless to say, COVID and the global financial market has meant that West Indies have struggled to replace sandals as Phil Simmons wears his sandal stocks.
Well, I was about to say, Phil Simmons didn't get the memo, did he? Well, and of course there is a batting company whose name we used to mention but don't anymore, who are heavily all over this, but that's from a broadcast sponsorship perspective. Or indeed you can see it in front of the stand there. In comes Topley, who will continue. That's again rather outside edgily to backward point, but is a dot ball from Bravo on this occasion. 13 for 2, 172 is what we need. We're in the 5th over. So did Sandals pull out, Ash? Is that what happened?
No, I think it's all amicable. They've just come to the end of a very long-standing relationship with Cricket West Indies.
Topley in again from the Joel Garner end. He's looking for that Yorker. Not quite getting it. And it's guided out towards point and will be a single for Nicholas Puran. Yeah, they've been bowling. Let's have a look. Actually, more short than I would have thought. 28% in the slot, 12% Yorkers, and 4% full. And I think it's been mainly Topley who's been spearing in those Yorkers to pretty good effect, as we've been seeing. He's certainly been proving his match readiness coming out the BBL is pretty tidy. As this one is thumped though down the ground by Puran, passed long off, and all the way for 4.
Nearly took out Bravo there.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Yeah, I'm just looking for Topley. Blah blah blah. Who's he been playing for? The Melbourne Renegades, isn't he?
I think
Been
Bravo.
amongst the wickets for them as well. Beautiful shot that.
Bravo threw away his bat in trying to save himself.
Apparently he's had to have hormone injections for his bat every day for 2 years. Wow. In he comes. This one short. It's skied high. Now, is someone underneath that? They must be, surely. It has dropped. Well, did it drop short? Dawson it was. By Jove, that absolutely probably came down with snow on it. It was that high.
That's a difficult chance. If it goes that high,
Well, coming out those lights as well. Up it went. Dawson came sprinting round. He does get there, to be fair. He steadies himself, and actually, having got there, that was a horrible drop.
Hands, chest, floor.
Yep, hands, chest. No bump to daisy.
I think he stumbles just as he takes it, which may have led to the pop out.
Yeah. Well, that's a definite drop chance. Swung at by Puran. Again, that movement in the air from top. He takes it away from his outside edge and carries it through to Billings at some speed. And it's a dot ball. We're seeing that again. Yeah, he just, I think, seems to have positioned himself and set himself, and then realised he had to take one extra half stride. And that's where it just all seemed to go horribly wrong. It means there is just one ball left of this spell for us, chaps. Full, driven away towards cover. Fielded, there's no run. It means the West Indies are 20 for 2. They're chasing 172. We've had 5 overs. There's 1 left of the power play. And I will see you later.
Thank you very much, Tony. Knackle will be joining us on summarizing, and Jacob Jaffa will be your social media megaphone as he joins us. England are in a much better position, as it were, than they were yesterday. They were 40 for 2 at the end of their power play, and West Indies currently 20 for 2 with 1 over to go in it. Knackle, this is obviously a much better. We were talking about how they would come into this match, and so far doing very good with the ball.
The bowlers
didn't
really have much of a hope yesterday, defending 104. But Reece Topley's bowled superbly today. He's been out of the game for so long with so many injuries. It's great to see him back, and that Yorker coming down from that height is a serious weapon.
The first ball from the new bowler, who will jingle up in just a moment, is flicked off the pads of Bravo. They scamper through for a run, and the West Indies are 21 for 2. Here is the man who chucked that ball.
Chris Jordan. Although in a cricketing sense, very much not chucked.
Not chucked, sorry.
So we are not Moises Henriques.
If they don't, then it will seem he'll wish he'd joined the Windies team.
Had a handy series with the bat so far, Chris Jordan, after a tricky period for him in England colours. His death bowling hasn't been up to his usual standards, and I'm not sure he's first choice in a full-strength 11.
Jordan to Pooran this time, and this time it slashed through the covers, and they will scamper through for a run, 22 for 2.
It's another drop catch. Tough one for Morgan, though, diving full length to his left at cover. I think Darren Bravo's Pooran's now been dropped twice.
Yeah, he was dropped a little bit earlier, and that is, like you said, it's very difficult. It did just hit his hands, but he did leave his feet to try and make that catch.
Yeah, it's one of those that would have been a fantastic catch, but a fielder of Owen Morgan's quality, having got there with both hands, will be annoyed he dropped it.
Third ball of the over to Bravo this time. Bravo turns away. The ball doesn't go terribly far towards the cover region, and again, they run through for a single. Bravo goes to 9, West Indies 24 for 2. As we're seeing this pop out that was dropped by who was it there? Watson, Dawson, I believe, just now. And then here's the one that was just so 2 drops in the span of about 5 balls here, as the West Indies continue to get wickets, or basically put wickets in their pocket.
Yeah, Nicholas Pooran 9 for 2.
Here is Jordan now again in, and this one is bunted down by Pooran, who thought about the run, got about a quarter of a way down the wicket and changed his mind, and it is a dot ball.
Nicholas Pooran, who is a fine player, has not got going at all. He hit that one lovely boundary just before he got dropped by Liam Dawson, but he's really struggling for timing. It looks like he's struggling to pick up the pace of the wicket, and now the required run rate is up over 10 and over.
Oof. Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a mountain to climb at this rate, and the England bowlers right now have seemingly had their way. Jordan starts off the penultimate ball of the 6th over and of the power play, but this one is crushed by Pooran deep over the covers and away for a big one of these.
A little taste of what Nicholas Pooran is capable of. We saw Jason Roy pick it up after a slow start. A length delivery on the hips, Nicholas Pooran's favourite area. Just a check drive, really, over mid-wicket off the front foot. It wasn't a flick, it wasn't a pull. He's actually driven that over mid-wicket. Fabulous shot from a very, very exciting player.
First 6 of the innings for the West Indies, and that was hit with some authority. And so Jordan's modest innings, which where he'd only allowed 3 singles, has ballooned in that sense, and they are now 29 for 2 and a much needed boundary. Here is the final ball of the power play as Jordan comes in over the wicket. It was a similar swing, except this one goes behind the covers this time, and it runs away to the boundary. 2 boundaries in a row to finish the over. 33 for 2 at the end of 6.
Indeed. And
no, go ahead, Jacob.
Sorry. Yes. Mog says maybe West Indies cricket could tee up a new sponsorship with thongs or boat shoes or some other kind of footwear. Dave Wood says, is Alan Stanford not willing to sponsor the Windies? Mog says the Renegades were shite this year, much like the rest of the BBL in general. Pirate Badshah says, on the subject of COVID-related sponsorship changes, Turkish Airlines stopped sponsoring Ireland early on in the pandemic. The choice to replace them with Fantasy League and crypto exchange sponsors hasn't gone down entirely well here. Annie Shave says it's a good look, and Dermot Wickham says poor after making good ground. I don't know why the commentator said he was unlucky.
It did go a very long way up, but Liam Dawson, this is the first drop by the way, that Liam Dawson did get there, and then I think Marshall was right, he kind of lost his footing a little bit. We do have spin into the attack. Adil Rashid.
Adil
Rashid on the 45. And
33 for 2 off the power play.
Here is Rashid's first ball to Bravo, and Bravo was more of a defensive shot, and there is no run. I said that went to, I don't know what I said covers that, in fact, went to the third man boundary, that last ball for 4.
Darren Bravo is a good player of spin, so is Nicholas Puran, but Adil Rashid's one of the best wrist spinners in international T20 cricket. Started with a googly there. With the 2 left-handers at the crease, I wouldn't be surprised if Moeen Ali bowls the next over.
Rashid directing traffic now, and he'll come in over the wicket again to Bravo. Bravo opens up, and this one is slapped down. I think he may have batted that one down off of his legs. Goes down to the leg side on the in the mid-wicket region, and they come through for another run.
So that out to the front of the hand from Adil Rashid. It's that googly that very few seem able to pick. He'll probably try and turn the ball away from Puran, who, if the ball is turning into him particularly, is a ferocious player of spin bowling.
Moran back to strike, 19 from 18. Rashid comes in again, and this one is wide and slashed at again through the diving defender, and that one will run all the way to the boundary as Puran did very well on a ball that was tailing away from him, and it goes for one of these.
See what Rashid was trying to do there, but Puran adjusted pretty well, managed to give himself a little bit of room, just a tad too short from Adil Rashid, but you can see what he was trying to do, angle the ball across Puran.
Fourth ball of the over comes in, and that was a bit short there, and slapped down to the leg side into the square region, and they come through for a run.
I said but I take it back, because I think actually Rashid was deliberately trying to bowl short to try and make sure Puran could only pull for a single.
Fifth ball of the over. This one a little bit further of a length, but this one is slapped and almost caught it. Well, it was a little bit of an optical illusion, but that has gone all the way over the long on defender for a maximum.
I thought for a second that Chris Jordan pulled off one of those unbelievable Chris Jordan catches.
Yeah.
Where he just sticks his hand up, but it was a long way from him. Darren Bravo, kind of Rishabh Pant style, taking the bottom hand off the bat, but he is a very good straight hitter. Rashid a little bit too full on that delivery and allowed Darren Bravo to hit through the line. West Indies taking to England's premier spinner.
I'm glad you saw the same thing I did, Knackle, because I almost thought he chucked his hat at it. I almost thought he tossed his hat up to try and catch it.
Every now and again, Chris Jordan takes a very difficult catch and makes it look ridiculously easy.
Rashid getting set to bowl his final ball of the over as I think they were searching for where that ball went, or at least they're showing one of the. No, that's exactly what they're doing, is they're showing one of the stewards take a look for it. West Indies, by the way, 45 for 2, and they are 1 run ahead of where England were after 6.5 overs, which, if you would have said that an over ago, considering how well England had bowled them in the first 5 overs and how stymied the West Indies batters were, that would be a bit of a surprise. But here's the final ball of the over, and this one again is cut onto the offside. They come through for a single. And Bravo will retain the strike on 17 after 7 overs. They are 46 for 2, and now the socials at the man so great they named a cake after him, Jacob Jaffa. You're on mute, mate. No, on Zoom.
Oh, so am I. Yes, here we go. Hello. Thank you very much, Ryan. I believe I was named after the cake. No. But unfortunately, we appear to be all caught up on the Twitter and the YouTube as far as I can see. So, wibble amongst yourselves.
You want me to wibble? I think, all the, and I think one of these inning-changing sixes, because all of a sudden, after that 6 that Puran really buried into the night, all of a sudden the West Indies have come alive.
2 balls after being dropped for the second time.
Yeah. This is, in baseball, they use the term, giving them extra outs. That's the same thing here, is that they seem to have been giving them extra wickets.
Yeah, Puran was 9 off 16 before he hit that first 6. And yes, I guess, and yes, with the two left-handers at the crease, the off-spinner Moeen comes into the attack.
Our beard shouldn't touch. Move over, AMLO. I like it too much. Move over, AMLO. You're one hairy dish. I love unconditional.
First ball from Ali is played off the pads of Bravo, and they come through for a run. And Bravo looked to be very poised. That one sailed in towards his pads. Just to catch you up again, the 2 wickets. Brandon King, what essentially was a golden duck. It was his second ball, but he'd only faced one legitimate ball, and before being LBW'd by Reese Topley, and then Shy Hope run out for 2 from 9 balls as Ali comes round the wicket to Poran, who has to defend that one in on his leg stump. There is no run.
Puran and Darren Bravo not yet trying to sort of take down their anti-matchup, as it were, the off-spinner turning the ball away from the left-hander.
Ali again comes in, and this one is whacked through the leg side, high up in the air, diving. Did he make the catch?
He did. It's a very good catch.
He did. Very, very good catch coming in and making it from his knees, and Poran has to go as he was trying to slog that one and didn't get a whole lot of it. And so Poran goes, Ali gets his first wicket, and the West Indies now 47 for 3.
Moeen Ali against the left-handers again. Puran trying to go deep in the crease, hits high on the bat, and that's another really good bit of fielding by the gigantic Reese Topley. I think that was Reese Topley, was it? Yeah, no, sorry, James Vince. I was going to say, I was Reese Topley at deep mid-wicket. James Vince made that look pretty easy, actually. He had to come forward, dive forward, never easy. And a strange innings from Nicholas Puran, hit a couple beautifully, but 24 off 22, having been dropped twice. I don't know how much good that's actually done the West Indies.
No, and I mean, but I mean, they're further along than they were. But I mean, like you said, that was a tremendous catch. And it sort of caught me by surprise a little bit because, again, not a whole lot of reaction, but we've seen some really, really good fielding so far in this series, and that kind of goes with it.
I mean, it'll kind of get glossed over a little bit, but that's one of the Reese Topley run-out was one of the best pieces of fielding off your own bowling I've ever seen. Really, really phenomenal bit of work.
We have a new man to the crease, and it's the captain.
A man who eats spinners for all meals of the day. Don't be surprised if Reese Topley comes on next over to try and bowl fast and short at Pollard. Most teams do that to him.
Poran, by the way, went for 24 off of 22 balls. He clubbed 3 boundaries and a 6 for a strike rate of 109. Is Ali getting set here in, once again, 47 for 3 after 7.5 overs as he rubs the white ball and now comes in to Pollard, who plays another defensive shot as his first ball, and back to the bowler it goes. There is no run.
There wouldn't normally be a good time for Moeen Ali to be bowling to Kieron Pollard, but which is not a matchup you'd ever choose as a bowling captain. His first 3 balls is as good as you're ever going to get.
And that one is slapped pretty firmly there through the onside, through square leg. They come through for a run as Pollard is off the mark on his second ball. The West Indies are 48 for 3 as darkness has fallen on Bridgetown in Barbados. The only stadium, by the way, that was offered in the very first cricket game that I played, Cricket 07, which is how I learned most of the sport. That's how long I've been following cricket.
I still have Cricket 07, Brian, on my PlayStation 2 upstairs.
It's on my PC because I'm not in a PAL country. That one is dab down. There's a quick flick, and I think it would have been very, very close on a direct hit out, but either way, Bravo has gotten in safely. He'll retain the strike. He's on 19. After 8 overs, the West Indies are 49 for 3. JJ.
Hello, yes. I don't know if I've got some sort of problem with the YouTube, but if I put top chat or live chat on, it gives me the same 3 messages.
Yeah,
so
I think we're caught up.
I think those are the only 3 messages.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. Let's see.
We have one, and it's sort of in letters. It's Vunrent.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
We have a spam that looks like a file name.
Yeah.
Well, let's not click on that. We do, however, have a tweet a soul tweet from the Adelaide Barmies, who says, Gorilla Cricket, morning everyone, from hashtag Muggy Adelaide. New windy sponsor could get New Zealand involved and be Jandals.
Rashid continues, and Bravo cuts this one through mid-wicket, and they go through for a single as Bravo goes to 20 from 15.
It's interesting call using Rashid to here with Darren Bravo and Kieran Pollard both being very good players of spin. Darren Bravo is a strange player because he can look like a bit of a very solid, very almost sedate player, but then he hits these huge straight sixes off the spinners, and Kieran Pollard very rarely lets spinners go unpunished. He's hammering, using a bail, Shivnarine Chandrapal style, to hammer in his guard. We see sometimes teams, I think it was South Africa and in the IPL as well, set a fielder almost behind the bowler at deep bowler, where Pollard hits the ball very, very straight. I don't know if England are going to do the same thing.
South Africa did that against him in the World Cup, didn't they? And I think they got him caught there by Rassie van der Dussen.
They did. Fantastic catch, given that he couldn't really see the ball. And we've seen IPL teams do it. MS Dhoni often sets a field there.
Owen Morgan using semaphore to set his field as Rashid comes in, and that one is defended off the legs of Pollard, it looks like he tried to flick it, but it hit the ball a little bit too square on the bat, and that is a dot ball.
Very nicely bowled by Adil Rashid, just into the pitch. There's a little bit of turn in this surface. We saw Fabian Allen bowl James Vince with an absolute beauty that ripped from middle stump. That's the right length, I think, from Rashid, that last delivery.
Pollard about to face his fourth ball, and West Indies 50 for 3. They need 122 to win from the final 70. And there's an appeal there off the pads, but umpire Duguid shaking his head, saying, I'm not interested. They are considering the DRS, and it looks like they are going to review this. Owen Morgan says yes.
Adil Rashid was absolutely convinced Nigel Duguid should hit his head immediately. I think unless there's an inside edge, which must be what the umpire is thinking, this must be out, right? Very full, very straight. The kind of ball that Kieran Pollard normally sends out to the stadium, but didn't seem to get hold of it. Oh, that's out.
No, yeah. It bounces, missed the back completely, missed the front leg, the front pad completely, and wraps him on the back pad. That's definitely in line. This does have to be out.
I'm not entirely I think. I'm not sure what Nigel Duguid thought had happened there, the umpire. Must have thought there was an inside edge.
Must have thought. That's it. Here it is again, in line. That's going to hit, and that's going to be the day there as the LBW is called on Kieran Pollard. The decision is overturned. He has to go for 1 run from 4 balls. West Indies are 50 for 4 as Rashid takes his first wicket of the evening.
That's huge. We know how dangerous Kieran Pollard is. We know what a phenomenal player he has been. We know how he can make any ground in the world look tiny. And Adil Rashid, who is a bowler in theory whose matchup doesn't work against Pollard, has got him before he's able to get going. It's a measure of how much faith Owen Morgan has in Adil Rashid, that he's willing to bowl him pretty much at any stage of the innings against any bowler in a limited overs international. And he is, after being taken down in his first over, has rewarded his captain's faith yet again.
And he got a pretty big fish there. Speaking of big fishes, this man is the next to come in at number 6.
He's Jason Holder, ready or not. He's gonna take a wicket if you like it or not. And then make runs because he's the top all-rounder. He's Jason Holder.
That ball was just a little bit too full for the shot Pollard was trying to play. He just played right over the top of it. Very odd.
Rashid continues the over, and Holder is going to get off the mark as that one is driven down to the man on the 45, and they come through for a run as Holder off the mark on his very first ball. 51 for 4 now with 2 balls left in the 9th over. Bravo will now take the strike. The ball definitely spun a fair bit and completely bamboozled Pollard. It seemed like a little bit of a curve after the bounce. It was a good length ball.
It was almost like it dipped under the bat.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really turn.
Fifth ball of the over comes in, and again they're appealing there. It hits something on the way through, and they're not as interested in appealing this one, it appears, or at least reviewing it. Here it is again as the ball comes in. Good length of a ball. It does hit him on the pad. It may,
outside
I think,
the line.
Was outside the line. Yeah. Final ball of the over from Rashid, and this one is flicked off the pads to the onside. They will come through for a run. 3 runs off the over from Rashid and a wicket. He's 1 for 16 after 2. Bravo on 21 will retain the strike. Holder at the other side on 1 after 9 overs. The West Indies are 52 from 4. Jacob.
And I will pass that right back to you on the half volley because we're all caught up.
Wow.
That's a really, really fine bit of work by Adil Rashid in that over. Bowling to Darren Bravo and Tyrone Pollard. Good players of spin, getting the very, very important wicket. Just dipped under the bat a little bit from Adil Rashid. One of those deliveries that modern wrist spinners can bowl where it's full but not flighted. Pollard misjudged it. Again, a very odd not-out decision from Nigel Dogood, but I guess that's why we have DRS.
Moeen Ali is back into the attack, and Bravo cuts this one towards the covers, and they've gone through for a run. And once again, they're showing us the rankings. Go ahead.
I feel it's talked about a lot, but we're looking at the ICC bowling rankings in T20s, and the top 5 are all wrist spin. And yet in the test game, they barely feature.
Yeah, and Shadab Khan as well. Wrist spin bowling in test cricket is completely different to wrist spin bowling in T20 cricket. I'll explain some of that after this delivery from Moeen Ali. The skill sets are completely different.
Ali bowling over the wicket to Holder, and Holder plays a very measured shot down onto the leg side, but not far enough to take a run.
In test cricket as a bowler, predictability is your friend. You want to bowl consistent line and length.
As that one comes in again, and that one is cut off the end of the bat, and again, not far enough. It's a good ball from Ali, who is smiling as he walks back to his mark. He seems to have pretty good control over the bowler, over the batter so far, giving up just 4 runs from an over and a half.
In T20 cricket, that level of predictability or consistency becomes predictability, and you get taken apart.
That one is flicked now to mid-wicket, and they'll come through for they tried to come through for a run, but was fielded very nicely there by the man on backward point. And go ahead, Knackle.
It's difficult to do between balls, but I'll try.
Oh, sorry about that. And now the reverse sweep, and that time he grounded it into his pads. Not out there, but they will come through for a leg by. Looked like he went for the reverse sweep and missed completely, and it jammed off of his pad. They do come through for a leg by.
Yeah, hit Holder outside the line of off stump. So
yep.
It's very, very difficult for the same bowler to be a good test bowler, or the same wrist spinner to be a good test bowler and a good T20 international bowler. Plus, Test cricket's been so seamer friendly in the last few years. There's been little trust shown in wrist spinners because there simply hasn't been a need for it.
Last ball of the over was dabbed to the offside. They come through for a run. And at the halfway point, they are 55 for 4, the West Indies, chasing down a target of 172. That's going to do it for our spell. My thanks to everybody for allowing me to wibble at them for a little bit. And joining you, Jacob will move into the summarizer's chair. Tony Bishop comes back on to read your social media, and taking over the ball by ball is Al Hotchkiss.
Indeed. I'll just run through the socials quickly. Mog says he left a message on YouTube out of pity and we didn't see it, to which I will go over to YouTube now. Disinterested hand job says, why you know read, spelled R-E-D-E, my messages. Our very own Tony the Bishop says, who is not reading these messages, Mr. Job? He will have them soundly punished. It's me, Tony. Punish me, Daddy. Punish me. And then Ramirez Baker replies to V unrent with V-A-Y rent. And R Naknud says, West Indies 53-4. This is like the movie Freaky Friday, where the adult changes places with the child.
Well, first of all, world class. wibbling from Brian there. Absolutely world class. And secondly, Jacob, you have thrown up an entire therapist's hour of additional comments with the words "punish me, daddy."
Well, I was hoping it would spark some YouTube and Twitter conversation
Well,
with the next person on social.
Well, I'm not sure what it's. I'm sure it's turned heads, maybe a few stomachs.
I don't know if it's
time
allowed on
will
Gorilla,
tell.
but couldn't get away with it on the BBC.
Well, hey, if you can't say it here, well, then where can you say it?
That's what I was thinking.
My name's. Oh, sorry.
Carry on.
My name's Alan Hotchkiss. I'm joined by Jacob, Therapy Issues, Jaffa, and Tony. I can't believe I'm having to sit with these people for the next 5 hours. Bishop.
What did I say? It's extremely harsh. Brian did say, please tread on me for some reason. I don't know why.
It's best that we don't go into that.
Okay.
It's more to be pitied than scolded, let me assure you.
Apparently he got away with the phrase 9-man gangbang. So apparently I can get away with what I just said. But I was interested by Knuckles' comments on leg spin in the test game, and I feel it's now compulsory to talk about Matt Parkinson. And as a leg spinner who is a bit slower through the air, a bit more flighty and a bit more accurate, with a first-class average of 23, should we get him in the England team? I think yes.
You've done a fine job of trying to segue us back into the actual cricket. Third quarter action here as Adil Rashid. That hits Dian Bravo right in front. Unless he's got a glove to that, I think that should be appealed. And it has been appealed. The DRS timer only got as far as 10. I'm indicating that this is confidence by the floppied two-hatted Owen Morgan. Two-haired, indeed.
Was that when Jimmy Anderson had that red streak?
That was definitely out. Was that definitely out? I don't know.
Tony, it looked very straight.
Yeah, I must admit I was surprised there wasn't a more vociferous appeal. It may have pitched outside off, caught him.
It just looks very out.
Squarely, yeah, looks pretty square. There's
Doesn't
no
look like it's
edge.
caught the edge.
Hits him on the knee roll.
Past the edge, ultra edge, silent as it thuds into the pad.
Thuds.
No.
Knee roll. It was a knee roll thud.
It hit him in the knee roll. And so
in line, impact in line.
And it's
not hitting.
Hitting the stumps. Wicket first ball.
3 out of 3 ain't bad.
That's out. And
I think umpire Dogood spent too much time with Joel Wilson, don't you?
Yeah,
do good by name, not do good by name.
Nigel Dogood raised the finger with the wry smile of a man shuffling his way off the ICC's elite umpires panel.
He's done a Wilson.
What was in his half-time drink? It's 55 for 5.
Yes, right. Shall I quickly see who's with it and what they're saying? I'll not quite sure where we got to. Brian was pleading to be trodden on for reasons I'm not sure about. Rashid versus Pollard. Double bluff, says Warren. Adelaide Barmes, as Dopey Foxtel haven't got the game on any of their gazillion channels in Australia, we've got LA versus Tampa Bay in the divisional playoffs on mute, with you guys over the top, struggling to sink it though. Well, that's going to be an interesting
we might not help. We might not help. It's going to be this man. Who's next? I don't know what he's seeing that makes him think that that's not out, as Rashid is in. And that's, it's maybe beating the outside edge, it's beating the left hand of Moeen Ali, and it's going to go for runs. I think it's going to go for 2. Oh, God, that's a terrible diving to get some... the slide onto the knee. Why do we do that? We just... it looked like there was going to be a horrific knee injury. So there's a massive divot been taken out of the pitch. But I think it's taken... Well, I'm not sure that's taken an edge. It's an absolute Jaffa to get first up, Jacob.
Yes, it is. It's
2 buys.
my very best.
2 bet, yes. 2 byes it's been signalled by, or gone down in the book. Shepherd, who came back for 2, has played the ball orthodoxly to point, and there will be no run. Actually getting bat on ball this time. Adil Rashid in, floats this ball up, and it turns and beats the despairing, lurching prod that Shepherd puts at the ball. He's right for a googly here, isn't he?
Well, this is some pretty high-class leg spin bowling of as we were talking about, sort of test match quality. It's fairly consistent.
Oh, there's the googly! And has he got an edge? Oh, no. It's too good for him.
Dropped it on the same spot, turned it the other way. That's why the leg spinner is so dangerous. And it's just wrapped him on the thigh pad. It's not taken a bottom edge on the way through, and it's a bit high, but a very good ball from Adil Rashid. Completely flopped Shepherd.
Rashid in, and that ball is pitched on middle stump, and Shepherd seems so grateful that he can squash the spin with a big stride forward. But that is 2 runs, both byes, and a wicket for Adil Rashid. Show me who gets the ball for the 4 overs. Tony.
Well, yes, over on our YouTube channel, Kevin Michael has said, "Hi guys, thoroughly enjoying your coverage. You guys rock. Keep it up." Kev Boy Aylesbury. Well, Kevin, you're incredibly welcome. Welcome
Thank you very much.
And hello to you. Let me see where else we're going. We talked about Adelaide Barbies. Mog was saying there must be a subreddit dedicated purely to Gorilla /Vic out there somewhere. This is definitely a conversation I missed that I feel like I'm sort of trying to catch up with.
It's best that we consider that it's something that's just kind of passed us by.
Well, maybe indeed. Jersey Oak says twice this umpire has missed plum LBWs. They should be sponsored by Specsavers.
No, if they were sponsored by Specsavers, they'd get it right. Moen Ali will continue, as that is driven by Holder straight back to Moen Ali. Easy as you like. Collapse. Ladies and gentlemen.
That's the second one of the night.
Yep.
But that one was not quite as thumped, but almost as thumped as the one that Fabian Allen got.
It might be just as hard. Oof,
actually, it was.
What a save. Gordon Banks. Caught and bowled. Moen Ali. Jason Alder, on your bike, mate.
Wow. It was harder than the Fabian Allen one. Fabian Allen was just protecting his crown jewels.
A sweet knot. But unfortunately, straight back at Moen Ali's head. Caught it out of self-preservation more than anything else, Jacob.
Yes, a sweet nut, but he saved his sweet nut and managed to get hold of that one. It's a shame because it interrupted right in the middle of when I was about to make a fabulous joke that the umpires are not sponsored by Specsavers. Then they would have got it right if they were sponsored by Specsavers. Instead, they're sponsored by the ICC, so they get it wrong.
Hey!
Or I don't CC.
Oh God, Tony.
let's jungle up the next one. They're falling like flies.
He was just made 13, if you know what I mean. And he struck the ball so long and clean. So why would we play with another? When your team standing there.
I think Moeen Ali actually saved Joel Wilson's life there, and Wilson looked at him open-mouthed.
And that is a slog sweep first up by Smith. And that has gone miles. Absolute miles. He's crushed it for 6. That might be still in the air.
He leathered that, didn't
He's
crikey.
Absolutely. It's when nobody moves. It's just like, yeah, we need another ball. Need another one of those.
It always reminds me of one of my very favourite club cricketing memories, which was when a man of rather similar build to Kieran Pollard decided to play in the Cornwall Div 3 League. And I'll get back to it after Moeen Ali delivers this ball.
They have actually had to. They've given Moeen Ali a slightly used ball now to carry on with. Smith has tried to do the same again. I think he must hurt himself in the process of that. Mistimed it. It's gone through to sort of a deep mid-wickety area, and it'll be a walk-through single. But Smith seems intent on hitting every ball with every fibre of his being.
Yeah, I recall a large West Indian bloke coming down to play for whichever team it was. I bowled a ball to him, he smacked it for the biggest six I've ever seen, and then padded the next one for a gentle forward defence.
That's a typical.
Slightly insulted by.
Shepherd swivels this to deep square leg and takes a single. No, that's very much the way, isn't it? I could hit this one for 6, but I'm just not going to bother.
I'm deciding to spare you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he broke someone's roof tiles out,
Nice.
the back of the ground.
Moeen Ali in. Smith has tried to hoik that again. It's gone high into the night, and it has come down into the capable hands of James Vince, and we might be done early. Wickets are tumbling like flies. Moeen Ali has his 3rd wicket, and Smith has gone 6, pulled a muscle, and then he's gone out. So some elements of the West Indian bowling might have changed, but the mentality of let's practice our 6 times table while we're batting doesn't seem to have changed too much. 65 for 7 is the game to all intents and purposes over at this stage.
Well, that's always been the criticism of the West Indies, isn't it? It worked kind of 6 years ago or so, but it was kind of 6 or nothing. And the modern T20 game is very much a game of moving it around capably in the middle overs, finding the occasional boundary and just keeping the scoring rate going, as opposed to facing dot ball, 6, dot ball.
Yeah, you've got to score off every ball. That is very true. Let's
put another 10p in the jukebox.
We could
have another jingle. Moeen Ali's last ball of the over is slightly back of a length and surprises Shepherd with how much it bounces. Plays it back to the bowler. There'll be no run. He's 13 for 3 wickets at the end of 3 overs. 65 for 7. Tony, all over bar the shouting. Is that what they're saying?
They do seem to be. I can tell you that it's 1.4% is the win probability for the West Indies at the moment.
So you're saying there's
Corky 69 over on YouTube says, "What the fuck have I loaded up on YouTube? It still beats the BT commentary." Oh well, that's very kind of you, Corky. Thank you. George McPherson. Wow, West Indies 6 down now. You could say the roles have reversed. It's now 7 down.
True enough.
Brian Barish says, if you told me that there'd been 2 howlers of missed LBWs by an umpire in this match, I'd have put money on Joel Wilson and lost. Yeah, I think we all would, Brian.
There's a moral to this story.
Collapse is on, says Mog.
I think the collapse is almost over.
Well, don't count your chickens yet.
So spin, but not as we know it. It's this man.
Liam. Dawson.
Back in his crease goes Allen to the first ball, and fielded by the wicket keeper, and there's no run. Makes you wonder though, why not just bowl Adil Rashid out? You know, game's effectively over 7 down. As that's too short, pulled away by Allen, but mistimed, and it will be Mahmood will make Billings work behind the stumps, and they'll take a single.
I think there's something to be said for the security of another Rashid over being just kept in the bank.
They're 66 for 7. Step on the throat. You know, you've got him down. So, and that's back of a length again, and Shepherd's muscled that away. Really was in no position to be able to play the ball the way he did over deep mid wicket, but that has gone the distance for 6 runs. That is all muscle, isn't it?
It was.
That's one of my key wicket-taking deliveries, actually. I always put a man out at kind of deep mid-wicket for the slog there, but he's strong enough to just heave that 80 metres over the boundary.
The next ball, he's tried to punch it through the covers, but Morgan's done the field, restricted them to having to go forwards and back and no run. But yeah, it was all about he managed to get back in his crease and back, leaning back and hit with an upward facing back launch angle there, helping as he tries to again deposit this somewhere in the middle of Bridgetown, but beaten by a fair degree of spin there by Liam Dawson. Good rip and turn. Something hopefully we'll see in the Test series. As that ball has been absolutely smoked over deep mid wicket. That ball has gone just onto the roof. That is 2 huge sixes by Shepherd, and 78 for 7's the score at the end of the over.
Yeah, well, maybe it is Rashid time. Have a blow, Liam.
Thanks
this
for your
interested
over.
hand job does appear to have rather taken a liking to YouTube.
Does he now?
Yes, today the role of England will be played by the West Indies, he says. The Attic Radio says, best coverage ever and fun too. Well, that's extremely kind, Attic Radio. Welcome along. We're delighted to have you with us.
Stay with us for the remaining 3 games, and then for the Test series in March.
Jersey Oak says, Dawson's bowling reminds me of Michael Beer's bowling. It's rusty, to be kind, would you say?
It's not, of all the compliments, it's not top of the list. Is it really?
No, he got seriously leathered there, didn't he?
He did. Mo and Ali shall continue. He'll bowl out.
Not quite the 24 we saw earlier, though. That Jason Roy
is that Cigarfield?
That is Cigarfield. Yes, it is. He has a statue, of course, outside the Kensington Oval.
Absolutely, he should. He should have what? Was it England Morgan that he hit his 6 sixes? Or was it Northampton?
His 6 sixes. No, they were. Yes. So I thought it was in. Yes, it was certainly in
Swansea.
Wales. Swansea.
Yeah, that's where they should be.
Swansea. Yeah.
This is slightly down the leg side and turned behind square. Mahmood will do some running and diving and fielding, and there'll be 2 runs taken off the first ball of the over, and the West Indies have reached the dizzy heights of 80, needing more than 2 a ball. Sorry, Tony, I talked over the top of you there.
Well, that's all right. I was just going to say, you would say poor old Malcolm Nash, but he actually dined out on it ever since Tanita those unfortunately sadly left us.
Certainly did. This ball rips off a length and wraps Allen on the knuckles. He shakes his hand to take away some of the pain, but there is some prodigious turn for all 3 of England's spinners.
Get Parkinson there in March.
Get Parkinson there, says Jeff.
I'm on the train.
You are driving the train as this is just chipped to square leg, and it will be Billings from behind the stumps who does the fielding, and they'll take a single. Are you holding out a lot of hope?
What, for Parkinson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, actually. I think Jack Leach, they've never shown much faith in him, so I don't think it will take much for him to
This
be dropped.
ball spins and spits off a length. Shepherd just kind of fends the ball out, goes a mile in the air, but there's no fielder within 20 yards of it when it bounces. Jason Roy eventually does the fielding, but they'll take another single. 82 for 7. 2 balls left in the 14th.
And I mean, we've been looking for a spinner who can put it both ways for quite a long time. So
Slightly wider from Mo and Ali, but Allen fetches it and hits it over the deep square leg boundary, and that's 6 of the Republic's runs.
Oh, I say, chap, give me any lip.
Wanted to be fair. Oh, Jesus Christ! I mean, it's nearly crushed 2 people on walking 20 yards behind the boundary rope. I hope they're all right. I think it just missed them.
I will say, Al, Knackle did earlier provide an answer to your quiz question of why the Tridents became the Royals, just as...
It wasn't my quiz question, it was Tony's.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tony's
it was the Rajasthan Royals. They were bought by the Rajasthan
because
Royals.
the Rajasthan Royals bought them.
Yeah, it wasn't me. I'm not clever enough to ask that question, let alone answer it.
Sorry, Al, I
No, it's quite all right.
overestimated you.
The irony of being called the Royals after becoming a republic.
You wouldn't be the first. That'll be the last time you misunderestimate me, I'll tell you.
Yeah, my disappointment stings.
It does, I bet it does. As that ball is turned away to deep square leg, that'll be a single. The score at the end of the 14th over, 89 for 7. Mo and Ali take a bouse on 3 for 24. Tony.
George McPherson over on YouTube. Why is there no cricket in February between the two teams? T20 in January, then you have to wait until March for the Test series.
I know the answer. It's because the West Indies are off, I believe, to India to play a white ball series.
Also, I think something we might see more of, the distancing between white ball squads and red ball squads. I mean, at the end of the day, England need a rest, don't they, after their Ashes mauling on the back of the World Cup, on the back of the series over here. I mean, it's literally been non-stop for them. I don't personally have an issue with that little gap. There should ideally be a few ODIs during February, says George. Yes and no, George, but you've kind of heard the answer there as to why that is the case. And I don't think England will be overly upset about a little bit of time off, to be perfectly honest. Let me see. I think we're up to date on Twitter.
Adil Rashid is going to bowl, and he's bowled that nice and juicy and wide, and Fabian Allen's eyes lit up, but he couldn't make contact. And so a swing and a miss.
Didn't they delay the Test series and add one to it? Because I think, wasn't it going to be near the end of this month and be just 2 tests, and then they added one and delayed it as a thank you for touring us during the pandemic?
Possibly. He's bowled.
That is absolutely right.
Did think that he'd been bowled there, the leg spinner, but it's maybe hit the pad and gone over the stumps, and there'll be a leg by, I think.
I was just looking at Knuckles' message there, and I read it as correct Jacob, meaning Jacob's got it wrong, but actually
no,
it was
it is
correct
correct.
Jacob. Yes.
That's been hit straight by Shepherd, and that's gone the distance again. These two don't like running. Shepherd's up to 20, and that's 6 runs.
You came out of your hand and into my zone. Now it's up in the stands. It's a 6. It's beautiful and it's mine.
Shade too full there from Adil Rashid, I think. And Shepherd just able to kind of free his arms and swing through the line. Pretty unencumbered, although still right for a googly in my book, but there you go. Rashid in. That is wide and going wider, and Shepherd's done very well to get down on one knee and sweep this to deep mid-wicket. Fielded by Topley, I think, judging by the height. Maybe, Vince, sorry, I just went on height.
They do look strangely alike.
Strangely similar, don't they? Even though I don't think one's got a beard.
It's rather taller.
But just a single brings Allen in, and that he's always squared up and edged, and Shepherd's helped him out there by being fully committed to a single.
Slip would have had that straight away, wouldn't they?
Absolutely.
There's a sort of
a short third man that's in instead.
Third man, fly slip,
would have
what you
gobbled it.
Yeah. So, but he's pushed at one, and to be honest, that would have got better batsmen thinking about it, I think, as that is a big ripping spinner that Morgan comfortably fields. At point that ends the over. 15 in the books. Adil Rashid 2 for 24. Ali 3 for 24. Fabulous from the spin twins.
Are we due a change?
I think we are due a change. I'm moving to socials.
And I'm taking over ball by ball. Mashel had to nip off early because he's got a responsible job. And Tony's going to be summarising. You've heard of Death or Glory. This is We're Already Dead Glory from Romario Shepherd. 21 off 14, including 3 violently huge sixes under Odie and Smith as well, and Fabian Allen. The West Indies lost 5 for 20 in the space of 26 balls off Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali. Adil Rashid finishes with 2 for 24. Moeen finishes with 3 for 24. Only Liam Dawson not joining the fun off the spinners. So we did see Akil Hussain bowl extremely well earlier, and Fabian Allen. But Chris Jordan is back into the attack West Indies need 74 off 30, which is pretty unlikely, but they are giving an air of respectability to the scorecard and giving the Kensington Oval crowd something to shout about as Jordan, who obviously from these parts, initially comes back with a wicket. Slower ball, Fabian Allen tried to pull it round the corner, but picked out Tom Banton at deep square leg. A little slide in, not picking up the slower ball. Fabian Allen gone for 12. Chris Jordan has his first wicket of the night to go with some pretty good bowling, and the West Indies are 98 for 8.
How's that? You messed about, I caught you out. How's that?
Very well judged by Banton.
Yeah, he made a not, you know, it was a simple catch, and you'd expect an international, a professional player of any level to take it, but he made it look pretty easy.
Well, Dawson dropped one earlier, although admittedly that had gone considerably higher, more hang time, as they say. And
Yeah,
for
and
Dawson,
into
it came out those lights, didn't it? Which it won't have done quite to the same degree for Banton there, because it kept lower on its trajectory towards him.
Here's a wicket-keeper, he should have good hands, although Nicholas Pooran dropped an absolutely inexplicable catch in the England batting innings off Moeen Ali, and he's a keeper too. Well, the West Indies have been fun, at least today.
Yeah, I think it's been rather entertaining. I've been quite enjoying it.
It's been a decent day's cricket after a very good one-day international at Newlands in Cape Town between India and South Africa. Slow ball bouncer that Romario Shepherd swings through too early, and it beats Sam Billings as it bounces before him. A bye given up in rather ugly fashion by Sam Billings.
Is there only one set of gloves that England wicket keepers have, and none of them know how to use them?
Yeah.
Is that all it is?
Sam Billings has actually kept pretty well to the spinners today, and the ball's been moving all over the place, but that was pretty poor. Yesterday he did look like he'd travelled 15,000 kilometres in 2 days.
Yeah.
As Akil Hussain comes to the middle at number 10. The first of the genuine West Indies, but very, very deep. But Akil Hussain and Sheldon Cottrell. Cottrell can swing the bat, but neither of them are anywhere near even bowling all-rounder status.
Akil won't appeal in vain. Akil is the real Hussain.
Left-handed Akil Hussain. It's another slower ball from Jordan. Might have been a knuckleball. He's bowling rather than his Yorkers, which he normally goes to. He's bowling slower balls back of a length, which is the way to go on this surface today if you're going to not be banging the ball in. And it's punched by Akil Hussain down to Topley at long on for a 2.
He made 23 against Ireland recently. A couple of weeks ago, that last week.
Yeah, there are no genuine bunnies in this West Indies lineup. You got obviously Romario Shepherd down at number 8. Number 9, in fact, Shepherd came in at 7. Nadine Smith at 8, and Fabian Allen, who could easily be batting 6 or 7 in a lot of teams, at 9. So they do bat deep, and seen Sheldon Cottrell swing the bat in one-day international cricket in particular. Jordan in this one on pace, full pace. Jordan's quickish when he slips himself, and this is punched by Hussain to mid-wicket. There is no run. Owen Morgan, I think, doing the fielding there. Yeah, nearly 140 kilometres an hour from Chris Jordan, which is 85 miles an hour or so sharpish. Saqib Mahmood bowled well up top, and Topley was superb, thundering those Yorkers down from a height.
Something about left arm quick swing at the moment.
This is back of a length, and Jordan again trying to tuck up Akil Hussain. He punches this past cover for a single. This game has been, in truth, very much England's for the winning, or for a long time. The West Indies now need nearly 16 runs and over, and after and even before that collapse enacted by the spinners, Nicholas Pooran and Darren Bravo weren't really going anywhere, neither of them scoring much over a run a ball. Only Romario Shepherd and Nadine Smith, with a few lusty blows, scoring significantly over or run a ball. Hard to read England's first innings score, 171, when England didn't bat particularly well, but I think that's some indication of the quality of the second string and the commitment to the approach that England do have. Last ball of the over. Very, very lucky Romario Shepherd that he got bat on that, or he got a little bit on that, because it was a Yorker that he walked in line with. It's just clipped the back toe. I think that if that had missed the toe, I think that was taking out leg stump, but I think it's just clipped a little bit of heel and taking it past the stump. Leg buys. Good over from Chris Jordan. They're 5 runs off it, but I think only 3 of them off the bat and the wicket of Fabian Allen. England very much on top. West Indies 103 for 8, needs 69 off the last 4 overs.
I do think, looking at the track record of domestic T20s here, the 170 something was slightly ahead of par, quite a bit ahead of par. In fact, I think England did pretty well.
Yeah,
that over from Roy was huge.
24 off Fabian Allen.
24 of it, yeah.
And he was going nowhere really up until then, and it just supercharged everything. Saki Mahmood is back into the attack, bowled very well in both games actually, although you can't really read too much into the first game. None for 9 off his 2. Here he is. Does bowl it quick. Length delivery outside off stump. That was definitely hittable from Romario Shepherd, but he swung through the line of the ball too early, and it goes through to Billings. There is no run. I wouldn't be wanting to put too many more there to Romario Shepherd. Drivable delivery outside off stump. I think Mahmood would be better off going back of a length here. Haven't seen him bowl too many slower balls in his brief international career thus far.
Yeah.
Still learning. So he's another one who could be back here in March for the tests. Saqib in. Goes a little bit fuller, and again Romario Shepherd kind of misses out on a hittable delivery, and he's turned down the single, actually. Sent Akil Hussain back. He's going to try and win the entire game in 6s. A very, very easy single down to long. And we're seeing the magnificent bit of work that Reece Topley pulled off to run out Shea Hope off a delivery that would have actually had Shea Hope LBW had he...
The irony that you'd have been out anyway.
Had he bothered appealing, but he flung himself down to his left against his follow-through for a giant of a man, 6'7", who's had so many injury concerns, and then got up and managed to palm the ball onto the stumps before Shea Hope could get there. Poor running and calling from Hope and Puran, but brilliant from Topley. One of the best pieces of fielding off for a fast bowler off their own bowling you could hope to see. This is a Yorker. When Romario Shepherd digs it out down to long on, they do take the single this time.
It's interesting, you look at Topley and you look at the way he shapes the ball. You do look at it, and it's kind of a sliding doors moment, really, given the injuries and things like that, about what he might have done and what he might have provided. But I know there's lots of those stories.
It is worth mentioning that he did get dropped during that T20 World Cup. He played the first 2 games against the West Indies, or the group stages rather, against the West Indies and South Africa. Got taken apart by Chris Gale, then taken apart by A.B. de Villiers. Again, that can happen. A.B. de Villiers can happen to anybody. But
those 2 people can hurt you, can't they?
Cross seam as Saqib Mahmood on this delivery, trying to skid the ball onto Akil Hussain, who's actually manufactured a shot really, really well there. Backed away outside leg. Saqib followed him, but Akil Hussain somehow managed to find enough room to guide it absolutely deliberately past short third for 4. Very nicely played. A really classy shot for a number 10.
Yeah, did everything right. Stood tall, angled the bat, steered it away backward a point. Gorgeous shot.
From a foot outside leg stump. I don't think Saqib Mahmood can be too unhappy about that. It's just a really good bit of batting.
He backed away a mile before he bowled the ball, though.
Doing a little bit of moving around is Akil Hussain, and he's flamingoed this back over the bowler's head. Didn't really time it, so it'll just be 2 runs, in fact, down to Chris Jordan. Good running from Akil Hussain and Romario Shepherd, but he gave a little leg kick as he threatened to back away outside leg stump, and then ended up back in line with the ball, and just a little flick with the back leg in the air. Nicely timed, but just 2 runs. 7 runs off the over thus far. Akil Hussain back on strike. West Indies need the unlikely 62 from 19 balls. England can be pretty happy with their day's work.
So they should be, I think. After last night, it represents changing gear.
Yeah, yesterday they didn't adapt to a very
positive.
Didn't adapt at all to a very, very bouncy surface, and we're really out of the game after the power play. But today they've, on a slightly tacky pitch, did well to get up to 171 and have bowled pretty well, and in the case of Moeen and Rashid, very well in the conditions. This is back of a length and is run by Akil Hussain to backward point. Did they take the single? I think they did take the single, yes. So Akil Hussain will be on strike, and I think they'll be turning down any more singles the way that he's been batting. And frankly, when you need nearly 20 runs and over, you can't afford to do that anyway. West Indies 111 for 8, needs 61 off the last 3 overs.
Okay, Woy Pom thinks I used Danny Morrison's on commentary. Well, I'm really sorry about that. Dorian Gray, listening from a chilly Miami where it's 14.4 degrees Celsius, and I wish I was in Barbados. I think we all wish that we were in Barbados. Adelaide Barmies, how Parkinson doesn't get a run when he inevitably will not be picked for the test will baffle all of us. You may have a point.
So there is a concern that he is a little bit too slow through the air for top level limited overs cricket. Who knows who'll be in charge of the England teams by the time they go to March, particularly the test teams. So watch this space. I know, this is not after timing because I said it at the time. I would have played Matt Parkinson against India last summer. I'd have taken him to the Ashes, and I would take him to the West Indies. But that's a conversation for another time. As Chris Jordan again bowls one that's hittable, and this time Akil Hussain does hit it, swings through the line and launches it hard and flat over long off for a lovely 6.
Oh, I say, chap, give me any lift.
That was a bit of a gimme ball from Jordan, just in the slot outside off stump, and Akil Hussain took full advantage. 55 needed off 17. England don't want to make this any closer than it has to be.
No, it would be rather spoiling good work if they were suddenly to concede a clatter of runs to the very much lower order. As you say, they bat very deep, the West Indies, no doubt about that, but they'd still see it as a failing if it's tighter than it should be.
Leg side field is entirely back apart from mid-wicket, but for some reason Chris Jordan goes across Akil Hussain, and Morgan's dropped another one. That one was not a complete gimme because it did slice and loop off the top edge, and Morgan backpedaling just couldn't get his feet set, couldn't get a proper jump in, and ended up sort of parrying it up while he was still on the way up and couldn't cling on at the second attempt. It was like he just couldn't ever quite get himself going, and Akil Hussain has been dropped on 16. England have put a couple down today. I feel like it's been a little bit sloppy from both sides, actually. They take a single.
Part of the crisis, Tony?
No, I think that was tough catch. He stretched, just didn't on that occasion take it.
Be annoyed he didn't catch it. Romario Shepherd has been starved to strike for a little while, but he wouldn't know it from that shot. Not actually that awful a delivery. Tried to go back of a length. It just didn't quite rise as much as he was hoping, and Romario Shepherd has launched that hard, flat 6 over mid-wicket. There's been some seriously good ball striking from the West Indies tonight.
It's very short. Short, didn't get up.
Well, the short balls have been working for England in this game on this surface far more than the full deliveries. But you're right, it just didn't get up, and it just sat up at waist height for Romario Shepherd to thump through the line. 2 6s off the first 3 balls of the over. West Indies need 48 off 15. We're into World T20 semi-final territory if they pull this off.
I think Mahmood and with the speed and Topley with his height, they get that extra bit of bounce, whereas Jordan,
Jordan
didn't get that.
No, Jordan's not slow, but that one did just skid on. I wonder if he's going to go pace off this next delivery to Romario Shepherd. He goes short and into the body. Where's that gone? That's gone for 6 as well. Onto the beach. 2 in a row for Romario Shepherd.
2 6s in a row. 2 6s in a row. 2 6s in a row.
is right, I think, Tony. I'm not sure Chris Jordan quite knows where to bowl this next ball. That was a short ball into the body to a power hitter, which often works. But again, it just didn't get up. He's just not getting the life out of the surface that some of the other bowlers have got, and that takes a little splash in the bunker at deep square leg.
Tell you what, value for money this lot, aren't they?
6.
You know, none of this collapsing all the way down. It's just like, well, wherever you are in the order, you know, you've got your orders.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as though the middle order fell trying to hit the spinners, to be honest. They were so tentative. It was like they were frozen, but none of that fear from Romario Shepherd, the freedom of the game having gone. Goes Yorker Chris Jordan, which is a delivery that he used to bowl very well, but hasn't quite in recent times. I think Reece Topley's pulled off a really good bit of fielding at backward point as Romario Shepherd digs out a Yorker well through the offside. Topley came hurtling round from deep cover, flung himself to his left, and we're going to have a look at it. The ball is actually out of frame on that shot. It's bobbled off various parts of Reece Topley's anatomy, and I think somehow he's managed to dig that out, has he?
I thought his elbow was resting on the spine.
He's got to it with his left hand, then it hits his right hand, then it hits his left hand again.
Ooh.
Something hits the sponge, but I'm not actually sure whether Topley and ball were in contact, whether Topley was in contact with the ball and the sponge at the same time. And no, he wasn't. Very good scrambling bit of work from Topley. Shown serious athleticism tonight. 2 more runs to Romario Shepherd. Jordan just needs to get out of this over without any further damage, and he tries to go on the wide line and gets it slightly wrong just outside the tram line. Joe Wilson spreads the wings. He's not going to get out of this over just yet, Chris Jordan. 6-1, 6-6-2, and yeah, just about a wide.
He does average 56 in his 10 T20 internationals, but 8 did not bat, and 1 was a not out in amongst that lot.
So essentially, he's batted once or twice.
Twice, yes.
Gets the Yorker in, and Romario Shepherd pushes to Moeen Ali at cover, and that over's gone for 23 from Chris Jordan. 38 of 12 is the kind of thing you have seen done before. Maybe not with 8 and 9. In, but the West Indies have certainly made this closer than England would have liked. Chris Jordan's figure's slightly ruined. I'm not sure we'll see him again tonight. And his iffy last couple of years with the ball continues as well as he did with the bat. West Indies 134 for 8.
Mog wants to know, Knuckle, whether you've changed your jacket.
Not since yesterday, no.
Since the last time you were on. Adelaide, Barmies and Warren both talk about the American football, about the Buccaneers pulling it out of the bag. They have just tied the game against the Rams. It is now 27-all with 30 seconds left to go. That game looks like it's going to overtime. Mog says shit is getting real.
Oh, yeah.
Armchair Cricket Podcasts, 38 off 12, but they did talk about 42 off 14. A miracle on the cards?
Remember Matthew Wade for Australia? Remember Daryl Mitchell for New Zealand? These things can happen. Reece Topley's bowled really well today. 1 for 10 off his first T20 game in nearly 6 years. This is full and wide outside off stump. Good wide Yorker. Romario Shepherd can't lay bat on it. A dot ball. England restoring a bit of sanity to proceedings. Here is Reece Topley.
KB once tried to kill him, and AB smashed him off the park. Then Boyd Rankin shattered his hand. But Reece Topley is fine.
Full toss sliced to the middle of nowhere by Romario Shepherd. It lands in a spot where the nearest fielder was 30 yards away. Jason Roy comes in from deep cover, and they run back for 2. Good running by Romario Shepherd and Akeal Hussain. 36 more needed off 10.
I think Topley was looking for that Yorker again, but he overdid it this time, and it was a big old full toss, wasn't it?
It's interesting from Topley because the Yorker has become a very hittable delivery, or a much more hittable delivery in the years since he's played T20 cricket. Back of a length has been the way to go. Shepherd walks across that side off stump, exposes his stumps, and again he's sliced a ball into the middle of nowhere. Jason Roy, who appears to be everywhere on the field at once, has now moved to long on, and then he does the fielding of that delivery as well. The ball bounces in front of him. Was that a slower ball from Topley? It was. Good back of the hand slower ball, and deceived Romario Shepherd. Threw the shot too early, gets away with it. Single, and Romario Shepherd wants some tape on his bat. Well bowled by Topley.
Yeah, he's showing some maturity, I think. Reece Topley, been quite impressed so far.
He came back in those ODIs against Ireland last year and bowled well as well, and that he was bowling from the Joel Garner end earlier, and actually is again now, and those Yorkers thundering in from a height. Topley's not quite as tall as Garner, but there's a little bit of similarity there. Very difficult to pick up when a guy's that tall. For Akil Hussain, we've got deep point back, about halfway back to the boundary, to be honest. He's floating kind of halfway back to the boundary. We've got long off, long on, deep mid-wicket and deep square leg in position. Leg side is covered. That's a good delivery, almost a test match style delivery, back of the length, seaming away. I'm not quite sure what Akil Hussain was trying to do with it, to be honest, given that there was a gap at backward point for him to find. He poked at it and threw to the keeper. There is no run. Down to pace, maybe. Quite like to see in the next game Topley, Saqib and Tamal Mills all in the same 11.
Doesn't that expose the batting lineup too much? That'll be
well,
the
maybe, but maybe Livingston's back for that game, and you bring him in for someone. Anyway, we can talk about that, or people can talk about that at a later time. This one is full again. Akil Hussain trying to back away and carve through the offside, which he's done pretty well today. Can't find any more than a single. James Vince doing the work, and Reece Topley, I think, has just settled things a little bit after an onslaught from Romario Shepherd and Akil Hussain on Chris Jordan. 35 needed off 9, only 4 runs off this over thus far.
Assuming you don't give it to Jordan, then you have to be giving
Saqib.
the last over to Saqib Mahmood, don't you?
Yeah, and 30 odd to defend off 6 is an equation that you'd probably take. Well, you'd definitely take as a...
You could even give it to Liam Dawson.
Well, I was about to say, yeah, Liam, have another go is probably what you won't hear from Owen Morgan.
You reckon?
Well,
Topley in, last ball of what's been a very good comeback day for him. Romario Shepherd loses one hand off the bat, but somehow manages to carve it away through backward point. Moeen can't catch up with it from deep third. Romario Shepherd's timed the pants off that, despite having one hand off the bat and trying to hit it probably 180 degrees in the opposite direction. 4 runs marginally ruins Topley's over. 8 runs off it, though, in the 19th. 1 for 18 off his 4. A great comeback for his first T20 international since the 2016 T20 World Cup. All those injuries, all that pain and rehab and hormone injections and back braces. He nearly gave up the game, Reece Topley, but he's done very well in his comeback. West Indies 142 for 8.
He's been absolutely tremendous. He's been absolutely tremendous. Man of the match, by my reckoning. If you take all things into consideration,
Moeen will get it for his 3 for 24 and his 31.
Yeah.
But he has been excellent.
I genuinely don't know how they work out these win probabilities, whether Cricinfo takes it from win bits. Cricinfo saying 0.44%. Well, 5 sixes out of 6 balls sounds to me quite doable. I mean, not easy.
I think quite doable.
0.44 is 0.44 just seems a little ungenerous.
I think you have to take in the situation, which is that it's the last over of the game. I think you have to take into consideration that it's 9 and 10. I think you have to take into consideration the bowler.
I have no idea what goes into those, and I don't really want to waste my time finding out. Saqib Mahmood starts with a wide, trying to hang it outside Akil Hussain's off stump. That makes the equation 29 off 6. Super over?
Wide.
Super over. Is that what we're saying?
I mean,
no. Over left of this one.
I mean, no, but Akil Hussain's done a good job at number 10. Bowled very well earlier as well. Akil Hussain bowling in different phases of the innings. Saqib Mahmood in with his nicely sculpted beard and his quite nice haircut. Bowls again wide across Akil Hussain. I think that one's just snuck under the bat and inside the wide line. Joel Wilson doesn't spread the wings. Akil Hussain puts hands on hip and says, "Sorry, what?"
Joel Wilson threw a dummy there. Did throw us a dummy because for all the world I thought those arms were about to go up. It's
That's a wide,
like
by the way.
His mind. That is a wide.
It is a wide.
Yeah,
and Hussain looked like a younger brother who's just been told that his older brother's doing something, but he can't do it. It was like, really?
But Mom, I want to use the PlayStation.
Exactly, that's what it was like.
As Saqib is in, Hussain fakes to back away, then goes outside off stump, clubs this into the leg side, into the gap between deep mid wicket and long on. Good shot by Akil Hussain. Yet again, 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Not quite sure what bowl Saqib Mahmood was trying to bowl there. It ended up length, and Akil Hussain, I think, has slightly outfoxed Saqib there.
Are we seeing enough to maybe get an IPL contract for either one of these pairs if they didn't already have?
I think Romario Shepherd has been talked about a lot as a potential IPL player. Dean Smith as well. Walks across that side off stump, Akil Hussain, and smashes this into the sight screen for 6. Saqib again trying to go back the length for 4. In fact, 1 bounce 4. The sight screen slightly obscured me. Apologies. 21 needed off 3. Even though the West Indies cannot now officially win this game if Saqib Mahmood doesn't bowl no balls and wides, but they've given the Barbados crowd something to shout about. It's been a valiant effort from the lower order.
1, 2 ka 4, 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Deep in the crease, made a length ball out of a ball that otherwise might have hurried him a little bit. It's been really impressive from Akil Hussain.
Do you think this is the type of... I know we said sort of earlier on that, momentum is tomorrow's starting pitcher and things like that earlier on, but, this is the type of thing that might build momentum for Wednesday's game,
Goes very wide and...
wide this time?
Well, it's still sort of on. I think Akil Hussain again sort of foxed Saqib into going very wide outside off stump by moving a little bit, then went back where he was, and that's very, very wide outside off stump. I wonder if Saqib might want to go round the wicket here and spear it in at Akil Hussain. He's having a little chat with Owen Morgan, stomping back to the edge of his mark. He does have a reputation, Saqib Mahmood, as someone who likes to set his own fields and make his own plans, which is a good attribute for a relatively inexperienced bowler, but just might need a little bit of support here and just slow the game down a little bit. It's all happened very quickly these last few overs.
How about bowl straight?
Yeah, but I think simply that's...
Well, he tried that, and that got hit for 6, and that has been hit... Oh, Roy nearly pulled off one of the catches of the season as he flung himself up to his left as he ran round from deep mid wicket, but Akil Hussain's got too much on that and has beaten him. It's gone for 6. West Indies need 14 off 2, so it might be academic. But another fine shot by Akil Hussain. This has not been a good over from Saqib.
He did get a hand to it.
Unbelievably, Jason Roy got a hand to that. That's a hell of a leap from Jason Roy at deep mid wicket to a ball that most people wouldn't have got near.
I was laughing because he kind of rolled and he destroyed the Bankspear site advertising hoarding. It was just like this chaos that ensued afterwards, but a tremendous effort.
He landed full on the, thankfully for him, quite flimsy advertising hoarding.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're reinforced, or those LED ones you see in England, that would have seriously hurt if he'd landed on one of those. Wide dot, 4, 4, wide 6. Saqib Mahmood just needs to keep his cool here and make sure he can get out of this over with some respectability. He's going to bowl this cross seam. It hurries Akil Hussain. Oh no, it doesn't. It looked like it had hurried Akil Hussain. I thought he was late on it, but he's absolutely marmalised that into the 7th row. 6 runs again to Akil Hussain. He's on 38 off 15.
Oh, I say, chap, give me any lip.
Can I just make a point? 4 overs ago, Shepherd tried to keep the strike from Hussain, and they turned down a couple of singles. And if you kind of add those singles into the equation, then potentially this is now 6 runs off 1 ball.
Well, yeah,
no, fair enough.
Yeah, it's going to end up looking like a very close game, even though the West Indies lost 5 for 20 at 1 point. This partnership with 60 runs off 4.5 overs, with Romario Shepherd 44 of 28, but Akil Hussain 38 off 15. And to be honest, to go with Akil Hussain's 1 for 15 off his 3, I might give the man of the match award
wide here would
to
make
Akil
things
Hussain.
very interesting.
8 needed off 1. It's not a wide, it is hammered for 6. Three sixes in a row to end the game. West Indies fall 2 runs short, But that, in the end, was a very, very entertaining game. Out of nowhere, the West Indies somehow came back. Akil Hussain, you'll never see anyone celebrate hitting 3 sixes in a row by sinking to their knees in abject desolation. I think he's thinking about that wide that wasn't given off the second ball. England very nearly saw that ripped away from them by a wonderful exhibition from Romario Shepherd and Akil Hussain, who put on for the 10th wicket 72 of 29. Phenomenal lower order striking, but England did just about enough through the middle with Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali. They did just about enough with Jason Roy and Moeen Ali earlier with the bat, and Chris Jordan. But that will be an inquest led by Owen Morgan and the coaching staff into those last 2 overs. The West Indies at the start of those last 3 overs, in fact, that Chris Jordan bowled, needed 20 runs and over. They've fallen 2 runs short of victory.
1 run. No, 1 run. England
2 runs short of victory. 2 runs short of victory. 170. West Indies fall just short in what ended up as a fantastic game, but England win by 1 run and level the series. That was an awful lot of fun.
It was. It just goes to show, that there's the potential here of the beginnings of something. Mash was very, very good at the beginning of the game to talk about the evolution of a West Indies team rather than a revolution. But it seems like they've got some of the younger, fresher faces, certainly to the more uneducated like myself, who haven't really heard of some of these guys too often. So I think that, to keep their head in the game in order to be able to keep it to that very last ball and to end up being 1 run short, I think that's, I'm not talking about moral victories, but you can take an awful lot of positives away from it.
That was remarkable.
What a great 9th inning partnership.
Fantastic from Akil Hussain, who ends up 44 not out of 16, and I think I would be giving him the player of the match, even though the West Indies lost. Romario Shepherd got things rolling, 44 not out of 28, because the West Indies collapsed horribly from 47-4-2 when they weren't going particularly well then at that point either, to 65 for 7. Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali bowled brilliantly after Reece Topley bowled a super spell in his first game for nearly 6 years at the top, dismissing Brandon King and then running out in superbly athletic fashion Shea Hope. Nicholas Puran and Darren Bravo, the only other 2 players into double figures until Fabian Allen got going, and none of them going at anything like a decent strike rate. But Romario Shepherd and Akil Hussain nearly pulled off a miracle.
28 that last over, but it was, those 2 wides kept
12,
it in sight.
12 of England's overs went for 66.
Yeah,
Topley's 4, Rashid's 4, Ali's 4, 48 plus 18. Yeah.
Reece Topley 1 for 18 off his 4 overs. Brilliant. Only hit for 2 boundaries, 16 dot balls. Saqib Mahmood had his figures ruined in that last over after bowling 3 pretty good ones. Chris Jordan had his figures ruined in his last over. Then Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali were brilliant. 2 for 24 and 3 for 24 between them. And Liam Dawson 1 over number 13. So we've got, if you look at the, and this is true actually of the West Indies innings as well, where you had a few bowlers, some real disparity between the good and the bad. You had Fabian Allen going at 12.5 and over, Romario Shepherd at 13s, and then the next highest was 8 in the West Indies innings. Only Chris Jordan and Jason Roy and briefly Tom Banton scoring runs at a significant strike rate. And then for England, Topley 4.5 and over, Rashid and Moeen 6 and over, Saqib 11.25, Jordan 13, Dawson 13. A very odd at times game, but a thoroughly entertaining one, and the series is beautifully set up for Wednesday.
A pivotal game 3. Sorry, Tony.
No, it shows the strength and also some rustiness in England, I think, a little bit. I mean, lack of control towards the end, to be so pummeled, they will concern them. The fact that they accelerated as well as they did will please them, but I don't think they're going to walk away feeling that, all is well in the camp.
I mean, they bowled extremely well for 17 overs.
Yes, well, that's fine. Apart from that, Mrs. Lincoln, as they say.
Reece Topley coming back, take huge positives from that. Jason Roy managing to pull himself out of that funk that he was in. Tom Banton looked pretty nice for his 25, but Chris Jordan again is a bit of a worry. The spinners bowled beautifully, and then Saki Mahmood getting a bit of a pasting. They'll be very interesting to see what they do. Liam Livingston will presumably be back for that game. Very interesting to see what the West Indies do, given that they bowled okay but still managed to concede 170, and it took that phenomenal partnership for them to get close in a game that they looked dead and buried. The top order really doing nothing of any significance. I think both teams will come out of that game feeling a little bit unsatisfied, but those who watched it won't, because that was in the end a really, really interesting and fun game of cricket.
That was a snorter.
Who's with us on social media to finish off?
Just a couple of messages. There's a lovely picture an Indus reposted of Roland Butcher reading County Cricket Matters at the T20. That, of course, is our friend, everybody's friend, Annie's great work. Adelaide Barmies, great coverage again, team. If I have to get up on a filthy muggy day, it's good to listen to some decent coverage and not a Brad Hodge in sight. That's your lot, mate.
Join the crew led by Bear. Actually, who'll be in the hot seat on Wednesday, same time, 7:45 p.m. UK time. Until then, from everyone here at Guerrilla Cricket, it is goodbye and have a nice early part of your week.
Take care.
Guerrilla Cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla Cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas